From the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
So it feels a little bit weird, and I guess maybe you could, next week, attribute it to daylight savings time, with your body clock being thrown off just a little bit. My body clock is thrown off a lot right now. If you are adjusting your radio and you're used to hearing some other voices at this point of the day, right at 3 o'clock, where your energy begins to drop, you need a little caffeine injection or a little food to keep you awake for the rest of the workday. If you're usually tuned in to Ruskin and Zach at this point of the afternoon, well, maybe you notice that these two voices, me, Phil Elson, he, Ty Richardson, were not on from 12 to 2 during our usual time slot of the afternoon on ESPN Arkansas. But here we are, filling in a little bit of a fill-in, a little different for today, just today, as I am told. So halftime is changing, at least just for today. And instead of it being a 2-hour program, we are going to spread things out just a little bit more and add another hour to the show. So I guess we're changing the show to 2/3 or third quarter, something like that. Ty, I think I'd put it on you earlier. Do you think third quarter works for a show that's usually called halftime at the halfway point of the day? This is about, close to what the third quarter of the day is for people. So I guess it makes sense. You want to do this as third quarter, 2/3. What do you think?
That works for me, dude. I'm pretty much open to anything. I'm very easy to work with, as you know, and I think that's a pretty good assessment of what the show should be called at this time of the day.
So Ruskin and Zach have been talking about this new studio, as if it's like the city of gold or the city of Atlantis, a place that doesn't really exist. And yet now they're finally moving into the place. So I guess with a new studio being built, can't do a radio show today. So we're going to take over just for this day. I did ask on Twitter, at least. I haven't seen an answer yet from Arns, because I'm assuming that he and Ruskin have their hands and arms filled with moving boxes and equipment and drills and screwdrivers and wires and all sorts of things that will be plugged in and ready to go for tomorrow. But I hope that this new studio that they are building, Ty, has room for a batting cage so that Arns can get some batting practice in for our little mano-a-mano that we'll do at some point in the next few months. Usually radio studios aren't that big, to fit a pitcher's mound 60 feet 6 inches, the nets that go along with everything. And it's a little more, how to put it, fragile and delicate inside a radio studio than in a batting practice cage. But why not? I think they need a batting tunnel.
So I have buddies that live in Chicago, and they've told me about this bar if I ever make it up there. I've been once. No, that's not true. I've been twice, but I really want to go back there now that I actually have buddies living up there, and they've told me about this bar, which I'm forgetting the name at the moment, but there's a massive number of batting cages inside this bar. It might be like sluggers. It's something like really like simple that just goes along with baseball.
You nailed it.
Is it sluggers?
And
Okay.
I've been there.
Okay.
I wouldn't have remembered the name of the place, to be honest.
Why's
at that
that?
point of the day.
Too much.
There were some things going on aside from batting practice. And by the way, it's not air conditioned either. In the summer in Chicago, they've got fans blowing on you. But that's it's hey, if you can go bowling and kick back a couple at the same time, why not take batting practice and kick back a couple, at least if you're not playing in the game.
And I told you about this a couple months ago. I might have to save up or get Tommy to expense the trip, because I had a buddy who I told you about a couple months ago that spent $450 on one day out in Chicago. Now, he's an idiot, and I'm not going to list him by name because that would just be mean, but he's not that smart. He's not the sharpest tack in the whatever the phrase you want to throw there. But
brightest crayon in the box, brightest bulb in the box, sharpest tack in the box. There's always a box.
That worries me a little bit because, like, living here in Fort Smith, venturing up to Fayetteville, being in Arkansas, the drinks are not that expensive or just going out. But good grief, to spend $450 in one day eating brunch and just going out, that would scare the daylights out of me if I woke up the next morning and $450 of my bank account had been going to bar purchases. I might never leave Chicago and just go jump in the river.
Well, judging by some of the experiences I've had in that city, I am not surprised. Not surprised, my friend. That is definitely a place you can get out and have yourself some fun. So all right, we argued a little bit yesterday. We got ourselves into a bit of a shouting match about the idea of quarterback play. Can it get worse? Do you worry about shaking the psyche of a young quarterback early in his career? And that seemed to generate quite a lot of conversation. And it also generated the most heated moment, I think, in the history of our show, Ty. I don't yell unless something incredible is happening on a field or on a basketball court, and I'm mic'd up for it. But then there we were at the end of the first hour, and you got my blood boiling up a little bit. I don't think that it's necessary to protect the young quarterbacks that I think you'll play. Look, if Chad Morris were to really think that starting, let's be honest here, Ben Hicks and not Nick Starkel, I know that on the depth chart there's still an or between the two. But with talk about somebody whose confidence has been destroyed. That's Nick Starkel, starting with that 5-interception game at San Jose State, and he hasn't looked anything like the QB that was advertised or that you saw in that fourth quarter against Colorado State. I don't think Nick Starkel is an option. I think Ben Hicks is. If the coaches truly think that Ben Hicks gives them the better opportunity to win a game in their best last opportunity to win an SEC game, although Missouri still might be an opening, then start who you think's going to get you a win. But these next 4 games, I think it is important to at least get some experience for the players that will be leading or will be battling for position to lead next year's team and this program into the future. And maybe it's John Stephen Jones. I would think it's more KJ Jefferson with the talent level that he is bringing in here. And Chad Morris is not going to let his hand be seen for the rest of the week. And why would he? Why would he? You're in the same position as Mark Stoops was during Kentucky week, playing it close to the vest, but at the same time knowing that you don't want the other coach to really have a sense of who you're starting out there. It makes this a more interesting week than usual, Ty, and this is the other thing that goes along with it. This is desperation week. Do you think that's the right way to put it? Desperation for a win, not just for Arkansas, but also for Mississippi State.
I think it's fair. I mean, you think about the 2 Mississippi schools, both Arkansas, Ole Miss, and then Arkansas, Mississippi State heading into this game. State's lost 4 straight. People are ticked. Like, they need to go into Fayetteville and win this football game. And same thing for Arkansas. Arkansas struggled. 2 wins this season. You got to find a way to beat Mississippi State and get your first win SEC-wise of the Chad Morris era. And, Phil, you were just talking about the young guys. I was going back to Andy's article on hitthatline.com talking about the guys that have not played, that have the ability to play 4 games down the stretch in redshirt. KJ, Monte Spivey, Shamar Nass, Hudson Henry, Dylan Rathke, Chibueze Nwana, Enoch Jackson, Torian Carter, Zach Zemos, and Malik Chavis. I mean, those are some highly recruited guys. How much do you actually see him? We've heard Chad Morris talk about trying to get the young guys in. How much does that actually happen? How much does his mindset change in these last 4 games, especially with those guys, considering he can play all of them and he can still have the red shirt for next year?
But try to balance all of this against the thought that you've got to put your best foot forward as to the chance to finally win your first SEC game. And for, Chad Morris isn't thinking of it this way, but in his career to finally get a victory against a Power 5 team. For Arkansas, it's the best chance to snap a 16-game conference losing streak before you focus on Western Kentucky, then a bye week, and then looking at potentially getting smashed on the road against LSU in Baton Rouge. So, I mean, where's the pressure on? Because Chad Morris inherited a program that was at the bottom of the barrel in the SEC. Joe Moorhead most certainly did not. He inherited a program that Dan Mullen had risen from the ashes to make it to 8 straight bowl games, and takes them to 8 wins last year, which felt like a disappointment. And now with 4 straight losses and a team that is struggling to hold on to the football more than anything else, Mississippi State has a feeling like they're in complete disarray. And the rumors are out there as well, whether Joe Moorhead likes it or not, that the Pennsylvania native who went to school at Fordham might potentially be looking at Rutgers as a place to take his talents to. So if you think Arkansas is in a tough position, Mississippi State definitely is too. So who's more desperate to win? Who needs the victory more? What do you think? 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline. We're brought to you by our friends at Breeden RV in Van Buren. Year-end clearance sale right now. Great deals. New RVs, travel trailers starting at $99.95. Fifth wheel starting under $30,000. And all new customers get maintenance for life for free. Go to Breeden RVs for more information. Stick around. We'll come back after the break. It's third quarter. Stay tuned.
Ready, set, let's roll.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
Slide girl, by my side, girl, yeah, we can run.
This is the Morning Rush.
They're getting to the point. They get to the red zone. They get to the point in the games where they could make plays to win it, but they just don't. When the plays matter the most, they're unable to convert on. And that's what makes it just as frustrating, because it's like, they're capable of it. It's just a matter that they don't convert it. And when you don't convert the big plays, this is what ends up happening.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
What's your more? Maybe it's more days in flip-flops. On a beach that you own. In the Caymans. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $100 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
B&J Comfort Solutions provides home comfort and energy solutions to the River Valley, specializing in residential sales, service, and installation, offering only the absolute best customer service around. Call them for any of your service, maintenance, or replacement needs. B&J Comfort Solutions offer an industry-leading 5-year labor warranty on all new system installations. Veteran-owned and operated, and satisfaction is always guaranteed. Contact B&J Comfort Solutions today at 479-646-0284.
Right now at Randall Ford, get 0% for 72 months on a new 2019 Ford F-150 LXT, plus $1,000 special retail bonus cash. But that's not all. How about up to $13,000 off MSRP? Or how about only $299 a month? That's it. Just $299 a month for a brand new 2019 Ford EcoSport, only from Randall Ford, America's 4th oldest Ford dealer. Stop in today. Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers, or online at randallford.com. Home of the lowest price guarantee.
Did you invest in real estate only to find out that real estate takes up too much of your time? If you answered yes, then it's time to make a call to the experts. With more than 30 years of combined property management experience and more than 16,000 units managed, Trinity Multifamily are the ones to call. Get your life back. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
It's cleanup time at Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Podo. Make your best deal of the season on the best-selling economy tractor in Arkansas and Oklahoma, the L2501 Kubota, or increase your productivity with the larger L4701. Need something smaller? Try Kubota's BX or B-Series tractor. Now is your time for savings at Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Podo, where if you pick orange, you'll never get a lemon.
Make a hot spring spa part of your day-to-day routine now and discover what it means to get more out of each day. Hi, Tommy Kraft for our good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Burton's is having an instant rebate event where you get $1,000 in instant rebate with the purchase of select Hot Springs models. Burton Pools and Spas is at 6121 Zero Street in Fort Smith and 725 South 48th Street in Springdale. Just imagine being able to come home from a hard day at work and to slip into your own hot spring spa from Burton Pools and Spas and let the stress of everyday life just slip away. And you're going to be totally impressed with all the features and options that are available on a hot spring spa. See it for yourself in Fort Smith or in Springdale and find out more about how you can get a $1,000 instant rebate with a purchase of a select hot spring spa today. That's Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Or find out more online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
On first down now, Boyd the call. Cuts back across the 40. Raheem to midfield. To the 40. To the 30. To the 20. He's going to the house. Raheem Boyd for a touchdown.
Your calls and texts throughout the show on the Cherokee Casino Hotline, 877-377-6963. It's third quarter / halftime, whatever you want to call it, just for today. We're back to 12-2 tomorrow, or so they tell us. So stay on the Hit That Line Twitter feed to figure out whether or not we will be back at 12, which I think is the case tomorrow.
That's what I was told. We'll see what happens, though.
Whatever they ask us to do, yeah. Ty. Honestly, if they want us to do a midnight show, fine, let's do it. I'm already knee deep into my fourth cup of coffee, so I'm going to be buzzing during the World Series game tonight when the Astros probably close this baby out. Probably, even with Justin Verlander, the best regular season pitcher who gets crushed in the World Series.
What, 0-5?
I know.
World Series? I think I heard that stat earlier today.
I see the Astros closing it out here. They are the better of the two teams, and they did. You have the feeling once the long postseason winning streak snaps, it's like the dam breaks, and that's what looked like it happened in Washington.
Who is on the mound for the Nats tonight again?
Oh, you would have asked me that, and I looked at the game time, but not the pitching matchup. I knew Verlander was going, so let me just quickly open this up. It's going to be Strasburg. So Steven Strasburg for Washington instead of Scherzer goes down with the back injury, which must have been as painful as anything you've ever experienced in your life. To wake up and know that you're not going to be able to make a World Series start, a pivotal World Series start, and the Nationals. It's not like they got to hold Scherzer over instead of Strasburg, because Strasburg's been even a little bit better at times in the postseason. So, 7:07 first pitch, Verlander and Strasburg. I say the Astros close it down today. But I know I'll be awake until 2 in the morning because of this 3 o'clock giant pot of coffee that I got going. Because we have this extra hour to fill today. And what happens at 3 o'clock? For a guy like you who would go to sleep, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning while you were producing the morning show. How did you feel usually at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Because this is the time that the energy really starts to drop. I don't think I could have done this thing without a bunch of coffee.
Well, I went and worked out. That was now I work out in the mornings. You got to remember, you got 18 years on me, so there's a little discrepancy between your sleep schedule, my sleep schedule, your energy, my energy. I will say my co-host Phil Elson is in really good shape for the 42-year-old middle-aged guy he is, but you got to remember the 18 years I have on you helps in a lot of different departments. A lot of the testosterone.
Now hold on, you have no idea about my testosterone level.
I'm just guessing.
That's something that we can air at about midnight. That's a midnight conversation.
I'm not talking about sexual prowess and stuff like that.
You're talking about just chemical levels. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Where are you? Get your mind out of the gutter. It's 3 o'clock. Come on, buddy.
My mind's always in the gutter. I guess I just hide it better from 12 to 2. It stays in the gutter. By the way, for those of you driving out there, as we mentioned, testosterone, please don't drive into the gutter at the same time. Texts coming up here. Let's see. We got people that still are surprised we're on at 3 o'clock today. I guess they're just nobody got the memo. The memo we didn't get the memo until yesterday morning. So it all happens very quickly sometimes as far as radio is concerned. Justin and Van Buren believes me that oh no, he believes you. I thought he was going with me as far as the World Series. You're talking about 4 straight losses. He wanted a prediction game by game for Arkansas football for the end of the season. Look, if you got a chance at 3-1, I don't think there's a doubt about that. Mississippi State slumping badly. If the Hogs find a way to slow down Mississippi State's rushing attack and hold on to the football. I think they got a chance in this ball game.
Hey, I need to correct something that I said because maybe you know how like Chad Morris earlier this week, I feel like he was misquoted saying we're going to win this game. He's like we're going to win this game, and I think people kind of got confused on that. By that, Phil, I'm in the last 4 games I picked Arkansas losses. I have no idea what's going to happen these last 4 games because, again, this is not necessarily the weaker part of your schedule, but it lines up just a little bit compared to what you were just doing. So I don't know if I can pick them to go 0-4 down the stretch because I feel like they're going to find a way to win at least one of these games, but I've been wrong before.
Well, I mean, and those of us who make picks week after week, and I think this week it's okay to try to do a score pick on Friday, Ty, because what was the point, going into the Alabama game except just degree of loss? You knew it going in. I'd be so hesitant as a fan, as a bettor. I'm not somebody that's putting money on it, but if you were, and you're just going straight up, to pick Arkansas to win any game right now until they actually do. Yeah. That's the position you're in here. But the signs are there. At least the opponent that's coming up here is having more trouble holding on to the football than you are. As shocking as that seems, because Arkansas has thrown the third most interceptions in the country, but Mississippi State can't hold on to the football, Ty. They've given it up 16 times. That is the 13th most turnovers for an offense nationally. And they've been fumbling. I mean, really, of late, more than anything else, Mississippi State during this 4-game losing streak has lost the turnover battle 11-5. And they, a lot of their takeaways came over the first month. They've had no takeaways the last 2 weeks. So if Arkansas has a shot, you got to hold on to the football and find a way to slow down Kylan Hill and Garrett Schrader, the freshman quarterback, because like every other play is a run for either one of them. And even if it's coming, Mississippi State does have a big offensive line, if one that's had some trouble in opening up a lot of holes. Hill's a great runner. And Schrader, I don't know if you'd call him necessarily a dual threat yet. Chances are he's going to run the ball and hasn't been very effective throwing it.
Just wait till he plays Arkansas, then he will be known as a dual threat.
There you go. I mean, if you're running quarterback and you're facing Arkansas, you've had your run on the road pretty much.
Got a text from Drake on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He asked the question: would it surprise you guys more if we didn't see some of these highly recruited freshmen down the stretch based on what we've seen the first 8 games? So, Phil, to his question, I think there's a couple ways you have to come out of it. One, what are you trying to do down the stretch? Is your goal 100% trying to win the football game? Because Chad Morris has a lot of different moving variables that he has to focus on. You don't want guys transferring out, so you got to find a way to win these games. You want to make sure that the freshmen, if they're competent enough and feel like Chad Morris and the coaching staff feels like they should play, then there's no reason not to play them. Yes, you're always worried, especially if you're putting a guy at safety or linebacker or, in a lot of people's cases, what they want, quarterback, but there's always a little bit more worry when you put a freshman in. That's just a given. So there's a lot of different moving parts with Chad Morris in these final 4 games, what he's going to do with these young guys. Now, if the guy's ready to play and your whole goal is to try and redshirt, but now you have the ability to play him these last 4 games, you got to turn him loose. You just got to let him go. That's the state. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about a certain position because you and I got into that argument yesterday, but when it comes to the other position, if Chad Morris thinks so-and-so's ready to go, so-and-so's ready to play against an SEC opponent at home, I mean, you have a lot to lose potentially still, but at this point, it's just it's a back and forth. What are those things called where you weigh something back and forth?
That's a scale.
Scale. Well, it's called something else. It's like called something specific, but yeah, a scale. It's a scale that he's having to go back and forth and decide what he's trying to do.
A couple of players I'd be interested to see more on the defensive side. I want to see what Zach Zemos can do at linebacker. We heard a lot about him. Good speed, hits well, hasn't been on the field, but for a game or something? Jalen Catalon, another one, the safety out of Louisiana. Just seemed like everything you read about him, at least, was that this is a potential playmaker in the secondary. And I know that Joe Fouché has definitely held his end of the bargain up more often than not this year. But to get Catalan in there a little bit would seem to be something that you could work in, over these not just next 4 games, really on Saturday against a Mississippi State team that isn't going to beat you through the air. I mean, they average 192 yards per game in the air. Most of that was with Tommy Stevens as the quarterback, a guy that they expected to throw the ball a little bit. Schrader has eclipsed 200 yards twice, and that's when they've been trying to claw from behind against Auburn and LSU. If Mississippi State grabs the lead, it's run all day long. So
Chad Morris and Joe Moorhead are both uniquely in a similar situation where they come to school where they have a lot of reps behind them, whether it's McSorley and Barkley at Penn State, for Morris, Taj Boyd at Clemson, a little bit of Deshaun Watson, where there's a lot in their background that would lead you to believe that their offense would translate to both Mississippi State and Arkansas. It hasn't been the case for Moorhead. Last year they were 119th scoring against conference opponents. This year they're like 97th. So it's not like his offense is translated either. And they are in a similar situation. We still haven't gotten this topic yet because we're coming up on a break. But people think that Morris has like just an immense amount of pressure compared to anyone else in the SEC right now. And that's true to a certain extent. Joe Moorhead has a ton of pressure that awaits him all week and then into Saturday, because if he can't beat Arkansas, that's not going to be good for Starkville fans for sure, Phil.
Well, look, I mean, looking at just second-year coaches in the SEC, Tennessee's got a little momentum here. I mean, they've picked up a couple of victories in the last 3 weeks against Mississippi State and South Carolina. That's a program that looks like it's taking a step forward. Matt Luke with Ole Miss, maybe a little bit of a step backward. The losses in 4 of 5. Chad Morris stuck in neutral, and Mississippi State definitely taking a few steps backwards. Well, we're switching the topic up for the next segment. With women's basketball season coming up next Friday, the Arkansas women's basketball is playing against Oklahoma City University in an exhibition at Bud Walton Arena tomorrow. And look, even if it's not basketball season, it's always fun to talk with the one and only Mike Neighbors, whose team has some expectations put upon them thanks to a strong finish last year in the NIT, the addition of a transfer guard, Amber Ramirez, who can score like maybe none other on the team except for potentially Chelsea Dungy, who scored a ton last year and has a chance to be a first-teamer in the SEC. So stay tuned. We're talking basketball and who knows what else with Mike Neighbors as halftime/third quarter continues on ESPN Arkansas.
You're listening to Halftime.
The Ram Power Days event at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma is underway. You can now get 0% APR for 60 months plus $2,000 combined bonus cash for up to $10,348 in estimated total value on select all-new 2019 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4 models. Become one of the many proud and satisfied Ram owners with a great deal this month during Ram Power Days event at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler. Log on to buywilliams.com for more information.
Miss Anna's on Towson is quickly becoming one of Fort Smith's favorite haunts. We're now serving breakfast from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Blue Plate specials served Monday through Friday. And don't forget about 99-cent Pie Tuesday. So whether you're craving some of our great kickin' chicken or one of our world-famous desserts, Miss Anna's is the place to be. 5001 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, 649-6300. That's 649-6300.
Mentor's Lumber True Value has the lowest prices on the items you use every day. Today, 4 packs of GE LED light bulbs are just $9.99 each. Choose from 5-watt or 8-watt soft white or daylight dimmable bulbs. They are all rated for 15,000 hours of life. Head over to the electrical department for these bargains of the month now, while supplies last. Mentor's Lumber True Value with locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville.
Light bulbs burn out, so it's dark.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
60 is not that old, but when you're talking about a business, 60 proves you have the ability to keep your customers happy and change with the times. Guardtronic is celebrating their 60th year in business. Founded in 1959, Guardtronic has been securing homes all over the area for 60 years. Give them a call anytime. There's always someone there to get a free quote for securing your home. 785-2323 or guardtronic.com. Happy birthday, Guardtronic. License E050.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Sterner, 5-step drop this time, going for the home run, and it's caught! It's Lucas, and he's heading for the end zone. Touchdown, Arkansas, 80 yards!
Year number 3 of the Mike Neighbors era about to get underway. Well, it already is underway with an exhibition win last Friday and another exhibition on the docket tomorrow night. Hogs will host Oklahoma City University at 7 o'clock on the day before Halloween. A little scary. Let's talk to Mike Neighbors about this. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Phil. How you guys?
Doing great, doing great. So if it's if you got an exhibition game before Halloween and you are a top-notch dresser when it comes to the regular season, what do you have planned for wearing the day before Halloween courtside?
You know what's funny is we've been treating these exhibition games like real games. So we dusted off the SEC threads and put them on for the exhibition game. So we'll probably try to keep doing that for this second game instead of going all Halloweenish.
Well, and it's an interesting thing. You know, you get this 2-game exhibition season in a packed tightly into a 6-day stretch, and then like a week before the next game where you really start getting it going against New Orleans. So I guess it's the right idea to just treat this just like it's the season. So 97 points in the first exhibition. Did you get the kind of offense you were hoping from your team? I know you referred to it as functionally fast, and it appeared it was on Friday.
It was. We only turned it over 7 times, and Pitt State's very deliberate. They were really deliberate offensively, so the possession number was low. We only played 72 possessions, and we're able to, get 97 points. But we shot 68% with our starting lineup, so that usually helps when that's the case. So I was really happy with where we were at offensively. Defensively, as soon as the game was over, I was a little bit disappointed. I didn't think we had guarded as well as we could, and I watched the film and felt a little bit better. But I really didn't feel better about it until Sunday when I tuned in to watch Pitt State, the same Pitt State team, go up and beat Kansas at Kansas. And we're up 23 in the fourth quarter. So I may have been a little harsh on my kids about our defensive effort, not giving enough credit to Pitt State. But I thought both ends of the floor were good, but particularly on the offensive end.
Well, and obviously you've got expectations heaped on any team that you coach. This year's team, with the addition of Amber Ramirez, who really was part of the team last year, transferring from New Mexico but had to sit after transferring. How does she mirror or differentiate in the way that she scores from the way that, say, a Chelsea Dungy scores? Because Chelsea drives and pulls up and gets to the line. What does Amber Ramirez do?
Amber does a little bit of the same. They're different methods, but Amber's probably more of a long-range shooter. She took 12 threes in the last game, made 5. She's very deceptive. She's not as elusive, but she uses a lot of disinformation to give to the defense. She's very elusive with her ball skills, and she does get the ball into the paint as well and create. So different methods, but similar plans going about getting it. But gives us 2 really good perimeter threats, and you put Alexis and Michaela out there now, and there were times when we had 4 3-point shooters who we feel confident with the green light anytime they shoot it.
So you mentioned Michaela Daniels, freshman out of Frederick, Maryland. Maryland's Miss Basketball. And, the one player that you have to find a way to replace from last year is point guard Malika Monk, who is really kind of a little bit of the heart and soul of the team, as well as being the point guard that handled the ball so much. You got players that can handle the ball. Replacing Malika can be a little bit difficult. I know Atiana Galden's dealing with an injury. What's the update on her? And tell us about Michaela Daniels and how she fits in as a freshman.
I'll answer in reverse there. IT's back in practice. She's doing really well. Rehab's going great. She's really been diligent in her efforts to get back. And Michaela, maybe one of the more freshman-ready kids we've all on our staff were remarking about that. This is a kid who's come in very mature, raised by a family of military background and a long way from home, but really acclimated herself quickly, has really been very mature. It's hard to even think of her as a freshman because she's so mature in the way that she goes about doing things. But I'm sure there will be times when we realize that freshman is there, but it certainly didn't show itself the other night. You know, she got 2 quick fouls, really steadied herself. We put her back in with 2 fouls in the second half. She played strong, went 6 out of 8 from the field for 17 points and really commanded the offense. We only turned it over 7 times, Phil. And when you do that, you know, and score 97, you're functionally fast, has a pretty good ratio there, 97 points to 7 turnovers.
Talking with Mike Neighbors, head coach of Arkansas women's basketball here on Halftime. Mike, we seem to have a fan of yours on Halftime that's listening. He texts us in. Mike Neighbors has the program going in the right direction. Look what he did at Washington, recruited and developed Kelsey Plum. We're in a great place with him. And Mike, I know you're a coach. You're always going to be looking to improve things. How much farther along do you think your team is this year comparatively to last year?
Well, Ty, you'll see a couple of things immediately when you come watch us. We've got some size, and we've got a little bit of depth there. You know, last year, Taylor and Kiara really had to carry the load at that position, virtually splitting time throughout the year. But with Destiny Oberg coming in the fold and Aaron Barnum being eligible this year as a freshman, gives us a chance to play 2 post players together. And I think that's an area we really need to improve. We were dead last in rebounding last year. There's 351 teams in the country, and we were 351st out of 351st. So that's the only guarantee I've made anybody is I think we'll improve in that area. But part of that is a product of the statistics too. We shoot a lot, so there are a lot of rebounds to be had. But nonetheless, we weren't a great rebounding team. That's the bottom line, and we're really doing some things. We've actually done a few drills this year, which I traditionally don't focus a whole lot on that, but that's going to be a concerted effort of ours to try to really specifically improve on the defensive glass, help our defense, and I think part of that will be done through effort and attention to detail, but then also just our improvement in our size and our lineup.
Mike Neighbors, Arkansas head women's basketball coach, joining us. And Mikey, so we bring up Michaela Daniels, we bring up Marquisha Davis, Destiny Oberg, Aaron Barnum. You know, these are freshmen who could play some pretty big roles, and maybe Michaela more so because of the position she plays. How do you balance, in such a difficult league as the SEC is, how do you balance not trying to protect freshman athletes, but make sure that they are put in the right positions to succeed and know that, you know, sometimes the psyche of a freshman can just be a little bit difficult? How do you balance all of this while trying to win at the same time?
Well, you work on it in practice. You try to simulate that environment, and with our number of upperclassmen, we can do that. We've had a couple of days where we just put all the freshmen together against our upperclassmen, and there's a noticeable difference when it comes to some things. Not necessarily athleticism or effort or anything like that, but that experience factor of knowing, you know, what it's going to be like, the way we officiate it in practice. It's a different foul for Marquisha. It's a different foul for her trying to draw a foul going to the basket in the SEC as it was playing when she was at Springdale High School playing for Heather up there. So you have to put them in those experiences in practice as many times as you can. And then, like you were mentioning and alluding to, be very mindful of those situations you put them in. Time and score, magnitude of game, all of those things. You don't ever want to set a kid back, because it can happen in this league. It really, really can. That is a 100% true statement. And then I think the third thing you do is you put together a challenging non-conference schedule, and I think that's what we did. We're playing some of the best mid-major teams, champions from many of the mid-major leagues, as well as some Power 5 teams sprinkled in there, get us ready before SEC time rolls around.
Yeah, let me give you some numbers from your non-conference opponents here, which you know, obviously. These teams won 57% of the games last year. 7 of your opponents out of the conference had 20 wins, 5 of them NCAA tournament teams. So you have definitely built yourself a difficult non-conference schedule. And look, when you're dealing with young athletes, don't you also sometimes want to see how they respond from failures?
Well, yeah, that's the whole key there, and that's why you schedule that way. You put some obstacles out there, see what's going to happen. How are they going to figure out how to get around them and over them? So I think that's what that non-conference schedule did. We certainly, wanted to have ourselves in a position that if we can finish the way the year that we did last year, that, we won't have to be a debate. Last year we were in that debatable 8 for the NCAA tournament. This year, if we can come up with the type of success we had last year, I don't think there will be a debate except for what seed we're going to be, So that's what we did in year 3. None of us really planned for that in year 2. I've been 100% honest. Quick, rapid success in games ahead of time. If so, we might have put that schedule together last year. But I just thought our kids last year were remarkable and overachieved a little bit when it came to that. So I think this year's schedule is very in line with the team that we have. It's not impossible. It's very challenging. I don't think, I've told many people, they've asked, hey, are y'all going to be better? Are y'all going to be better? How are you going to be? That question you get during the off season.
Coming up on the break here. Coming up on the break, Mike, so we'll have to cut it short, man. Sorry about that. But I can't wait to see you guys in Fayetteville next Friday. Thanks for coming on today.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Hey, man. Hey. I like your new Toyota Tundra.
Thanks. I got a great deal on it at the Toyota Tailgate event. Now I can spend my weekends out in the wilderness, tackling all sorts of terrain, kicking up rocks, barreling down deep forest trails.
Oh, totally.
Going on rough, tough, rugged journeys. Really just getting out, connecting with nature.
Right.
I'm talking ATVing, mountain biking, taking the boat out, weekends jam-packed with activities.
That's cool.
I mean, except on game days. On game days, I'll still be here tailgating with you.
Oh, good. Because you're the only one with a big enough grill.
Nice. Real nice.
Hurry in to the Toyota Tailgate event for a great deal on trucks made to withstand your weekend. Get $1,500 customer cash, or qualified buyers can get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new, virtually indestructible 2019 Tacoma. Toyota, let's go places. Visit buyatoyota.com for details.
Offers available in select states and at 11/4/19.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. Fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way. Taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us. Selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Want to do something scary? Really scary? It's Magic Screams at Magic Springs,
the scare capital of Arkansas.
3 haunted attractions, including the new Carnival number 9 in 3D.
Ride wicked thrill rides in the dark.
Plus, fun for kids means family fun by day, fright by night. September 28th through November 3rd. Park opens at noon. Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. Buy discount tickets online for big savings.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Deep middle, wide open. Jarius Wright trying to get his balance. If he can, he might take it. Breaks the tackle, down the sideline, got a block, and he's in. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Enjoyed the talk with Mike Neighbors. His team is picked 5th in the preseason poll in the SEC. South Carolina, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Kentucky, then Arkansas. So you could say those first 4 are some blue bloods in women's basketball, and the Hogs are trying to knock at the door to maybe at some point be one of those blue bloods. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson here on third quarter halftime, still struggling with what to call it. 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. About an hour before we got on the air, the NCAA announced that the Board of Governors has started the process to, in the NCAA's words, I mean, it's right there on the press release on the NCAA website, quote, enhance name, image, and likeness opportunities. Each NCAA division directed to immediately consider modernization of bylaws and policies. I find the word, Ty, modernization, to be fascinating, because this is the NCAA now admitting that they've been behind the times, I think, as far as this is concerned. And look, I also think that the NCAA knew, with all these other states, Colorado, Florida, a host of other states have followed California's lead to allow student athletes to profit off their image and likeness, and it was going to be a whole, cauldron of different laws, each with a little bit of a different tilt to it. If the NCAA wanted to, they could have gone to federal court, fought these laws, and lost, because that's what would have happened. They would have lost, and then, or just find a way to try to make this work, which is, it looks to me like that's what the NCAA is finally admitting, that they're going to try to find a way to make this work, and this will definitely change college sports in ways that maybe right now we can't quite grasp.
So the most interesting paragraph in this article that the NCAA, or this release moreover, what the NCAA put out was, for me, the working group will continue to gather feedback through April on how best to respond to the state and federal legislative environment and to refine its recommendations and principles like you were talking about. And then the most important part, I think, the board has asked each division to create any new rules beginning immediately, but no later than 2021. So that seems like a process. That's about a year and a half, give or take, a couple months, a little less than that. So it's going to be sooner than I think there were some people debating if the California law wouldn't go into 2022, 2023. Maybe I'm wrong,
right,
misquoting that number, but I feel like that's right.
They're giving it like a 2 or 3 year run up.
And this is going to be a long, drawn out process because they want to make sure they get it right, that there's no backdoor, there's no reading between the headlines or the bylaws or whatever ends up happening. So, and then and Phil, I think this is an issue where you don't have to necessarily fall on one side. This is not a black and white issue. You can come about it different ways. Like for me, I've always had the thought that college athletes shouldn't get paid, but they should be allowed to either work jobs or sell stuff or do things that normal collegiate students can. That's been my way of thinking. I've never said that they should get paid for whatever. They should just be allowed to sell themselves and market themselves. And now I realize that there's cons to that, just like there's cons to them not getting anything whatsoever when you have all this money being made. So, again, this goes back to this not being a black and white issue. You don't necessarily have to stand on either side of the fence because I think plenty of people are going to be straddling on this one.
The NCAA continues that the following principles and guidelines should all of any bylaw that each of these NCAA divisions come up with have to fall within the following principles. And top of the list is assuring student athletes are treated similarly to non-student athletes unless a compelling reason exists to differentiate. And right then and there, it's telling you, non-athlete students have been allowed to be just regular Americans and make money off of any way that they can make money. Student athletes have been treated differently, so that right then and there's an admittal of treating them differently. And look, I understand they're also treated differently in ways that the non-athlete is, in very good ways, as far as dorms that they get, the food they get to eat in some cases.
Food, tutors. Like, if you've ever been on a college...
A lot of these things at the same time, while they are also generating money for the universities. But here also is another one. Make clear that compensation for athletics performance or participation is impermissible. So, this gets to what you're saying. They're not paid for playing. They're paid for their face and their name and their voice. The NCAA goes on that they reaffirm that student athletes are students first and not employees of the university. So then, again, if you establish a relationship where you're being paid by someone for a service, if that service is playing football, playing basketball, you are then being paid for that reason. This is not allowing that. This is allowing essentially an American citizen to do what any other American citizen can. Make money off their image and likeness.
But the more important and more integral part of this issue, Phil, is the question that now many have asked.
This is the only reason why
NCAA football come back.
It
feels
about
like the O'Bannon thing.
For your people, for your generation, Ty, this is like the one thing.
What do you mean, my people?
For your people, and hey, it's plenty of my people too that played NCAA football on EA Sports for years and years, and would like to have it back. But it is back. John Neighbors gets to do this simulation week after week
with updated rosters. That's not the same thing.
Oh, it's so 5 years ago. It's like having the iPhone 3 once again, right? Although 5 years ago, I guess we were at the iPhone 5.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful, like so many others, that will get reestablished because I think that might be the best video. I love Call of Duty. I love Halo. Man, I haven't owned an Xbox since high school. I might make the purchase if NCAA football comes back.
It really comes down to that, to this game?
It's that big of a deal, dude. It's that big of a deal. I loved NCAA football. I played it. I think the last time I played it was freshman year of college with my old roommate who actually coincidentally got married this past weekend. I don't believe I have played NCAA foot. Well, hold on. Outside of SEC Media Days with John, I don't believe I played NCAA football between that stretch, and so it'll be good to be back if it ends up coming back.
I went a long time between ownership of video game systems. I had I don't know if Ty's ever heard of the Atari 2600. This was, I think it was, the most popular video game console of the 1980s. You and I got into Atari a little bit, I think.
I played Atari. My dad had Pong back in the day.
Okay, so I didn't have Pong. I had Haunted House. I had Pac-Man. I had E.T., the single worst video game ever made, which is famous, by the way. This E.T. game, modeled off the movie in really minuscule ways, was legitimately known as the worst video game system of all time. So then I went from that, which stopped working in like 1989, blowing on the cartridges didn't work any longer by that point.
That's like the old 64 days. I remember those days.
Now I've got, and I know this thing is probably 15 years old. I bought it, when I got my own spot, and the kids would come over, and I have a Nintendo Wii. And I told Ty about this the other day, and he wanted me to talk about it on the air. If you want to get a really interesting visual, I'm moving out of this apartment here, so I'm packing all this stuff up. I moved the TV from the bedroom into the living room. I got the World Series game on the big screen, or the bigger screen. I don't have a giant TV. And then I've got another TV where while I'm watching the World Series, I can play Wii Sports at the same time.
There you go.
I mean, you want to talk about the picture of complete
bliss,
complete dorkiness and geekiness.
Bliss. It's okay.
It's a guy watching the World Series by himself while he's playing Wii Sports.
And
moving out of an apartment.
Being Clarksville, to up your love game. You're fine. Being Clarksville texted on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He says, I did Atari, Defender, Cubert, Pitfall, pole
Absolutely.
Position.
Absolutely.
You guys be old and talk about this because I don't know any. I mean, we haven't done this in a while. I don't.
Gap.
I do that again.
Generational gap.
I don't know any of the stuff that he just said.
It's the Atari 2600. It was, the kind of graphics that if you grabbed a box of Crayolas, you could do just the same sort of graphics that were on your television screen. I'm talking the big crayons, like the fat ones, for the kids that are 2 years old and need the big fat ones. Not the prettiest stuff, but they were the best games that we had at that point. Baseball that really wasn't close to baseball. Football that wasn't anything like football. There was pinball. What video game system actually does pinball now? That one did pinball. Yeah, Space Invaders. JT in Hot Springs reminds me of Space Invaders. That was and Defender and Zaxxon. Oh goodness, it's bringing. I even went as an Atari 2600 for Halloween. I dressed as an Atari 2600.
Heck yeah!
For Halloween, I think at the age of 9.
Throwback. Now I feel like we've really immersed ourselves in the Rusk and Zach culture because we've talked about old video games for the past 10 minutes.
We haven't even gotten into food.
Yeah, that's true.
We have not broached food, which honestly for us is a little bit different than usual. We usually talk a little food, Ty, so what's happened? I guess we're stretching out this usual 2-hour show to a third hour. That's what we got to do today, right?
Yeah, well, that 5 to 6 hour will be a lot of food talk, I'm thinking, by the time we get to that point. I'll be getting hungry. My stomach will start rumbling a little bit.
We want to talk with listeners. 877-377-6963. That's our Cherokee Casino hotline. Got some basketball updates. We're going to be talking with Neil Price, the voice of Mississippi State football. So stay tuned. Halftime, third quarter continues on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. And Jelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CBA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley, for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
End of your savings start now at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Take up to $14,000 off on remaining 2019 GMC Sierra SLTs, featuring the new body style and tons of new features. Now $14,000 off. Need third row seating? The 2019 GMC Yukon XL has tons of room and all the options and features you demand. Right now, up to $13,000 off. End of your savings start now. Save up to $14,000 off at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
You know the Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment in Fort Smith is your go-to shop for everything pressure washers. But did you know that they also handle your industrial pump and supply needs too? It doesn't stop there. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment's industrial vacuum trucks can handle dry, liquid, and even sludge removal from several hundred feet away. Leave the cleanup to the professionals. Contact Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment at 782-3762. That's 782-3762. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment, 3116 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Cloudy skies, a chance of some showers and scattered storms today. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be in the upper 40s north, low 60s south. Showers likely, a few thunderstorms with us tonight. An overnight low will drop down mid-40s north, low 50s south, and more showers, a few storms for Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studios.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, man, Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
wide
it?
Open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead, cackle into the microphone a little bit. We just got a great image from Doug in Little Rock on our text line. That's the Cherokee Casino hotline. It's 877-377-6963. Ty, please, one more cackle. I don't think I've heard you laugh that hard.
It's been a while since I've had a listener made me laugh that hard, Phil. But man,
Doug in Little Rock just put a very simple image together of me dressed like an Atari joystick. And look, these joysticks were not like the joysticks that you think now. Back when I was a kid, Ty, we were lucky to have one red button at the top left corner of our joystick, and that's it. And you didn't have all these newfangled second buttons. You didn't have your A, B, C, D, your E, and your F, all the way down to X. You had A. That was it for your left thumb. You couldn't even use your right thumb. You had no choice in the matter. And that, by the way, that's not what I went dressed as. I went dressed as the actual console of the Atari 2600, and I did bring my black joysticks with me. But I gotta say, if you can get that thing on the Twitter machine, Ty, if we can,
it's up, dude.
If we can forward this thing, that good.
You know me better than that. It's
Good.
already up.
You know I have no pride, so this I'll tweet it with a comment during the next segment here on third quarter / halftime. All right, we Devin in Boonville waited through the break. We appreciate your patience, Devin. How you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing much better now that I see me looking like an Atari joystick.
I can't wait to see it. But anyways, the point that I wanted to make today was Chad Morris. I don't know. Things have just been absolutely falling apart for this guy, and he's got to forget everything about this season and just look at the future at this point. You know, like y'all's argument yesterday about damaging the confidence of KJ Jefferson because he's a true freshman. But what if it goes the other way and dude shows up and dude shows out? And, you know, we may be sitting here looking at 3 to 4 years of him just absolutely balling. But another thing is, Chad Morris has to look at these last 4 games as a 4-game season, and he's got to go 500 to save his job. If he really wants to make people start to feel better about this season and where the program's headed, he needs to win 3 out of 4. I mean, and I think that's a long shot, but to me, that's what I think needs to happen. But I just wanted to see where you guys were at with that, and and I'm not under any delusion that we're going to beat LSU. I mean, if we're going to win 3 out of 4, it's going to be Missouri and Mississippi State, Western Kentucky. But anyways,
Devin, you raised some good questions here, and I've been thinking about this a little time because we looked at the schedule here, earlier this week and figured this is a team that might be able to have a strong finish. We're probably getting a little bit greedy, or not taking the right viewpoint. Instead we're looking at this from a larger perspective of what needs to happen in the next month, when really all that's in front of you is what needs to happen this Saturday against Mississippi State. And that's partial coach speak as well, one game at a time. Yeah. We're going to go 1-0, all this and that. But that's the truth. That's the truth. If you're Chad Morris, what will help you build the program better than a win over an SEC team? I don't care which SEC team it is, but at least one of them. Mississippi State is your best chance to do it. And so this was what I got to earlier in today's show, and it's you start who gives you the best opportunity to win. I think that's the case. That's the point he was trying to make at yesterday's press conference. But at this point, part of the answer also is Nick Starkel really going to give you a chance to win? Is Ben Hicks really going to give you the best chance to win? I don't think that question can be answered in an affirmative way yet. Neither of those quarterbacks has shown you the capability of quarterbacking you to an SEC win. And quite honestly, the defense isn't at the level where it can win you a game with a quarterback who just, doesn't lose the game for you.
I mean, it goes along with not just the defense, but the offensive line not giving a lot of pass protection, the young wide receivers not knowing where they need to go, where they need to line up in order to not get an illegal shift, not a false start, but just a couple of penalties, illegal formation, stuff like that. I mean, it's not just on the quarterbacks, and I think one of the things we've done the last few weeks, last few days, is simply harp on the quarterbacks too much, and I'm just as guilty of doing that than anyone. But we got to remember, as bad as Ben Hicks and Nick Starkel have played at points this season, there's been some flashes where you're like, man, maybe they can get this done, but football is about a cohesive unit, both on offense and defense, working together. Have you seen that from either side of the football this year? No. And
in fits and starts here and there. Never for 4 full quarters.
Very, very small spurts. And with the quarterback position, you get the love when you win. You get all the glory. But when you lose, all eyes are on you. All backlash is on you. All comments are on you. And Ben Hicks, Nick Starkel, they've received the brunt of that this year. And some of that has been their own mistakes. I think Nick Starkel has really disappointed a lot of Arkansas fans who thought he was going to be a lot better this year. But it's just, maybe I'm wrong. And I don't know how many times I have to say this. I hope I'm wrong if John Stephen Jones starts on Saturday. I hope I'm wrong about KJ Jefferson. I just don't see them succeeding if that happens. And that's what I'm worried about. Now, I never said that I was 100% putting them in the game. I don't know if starting KJ Jefferson in a situation. Again, this is just one of those things where people are saying, well, you don't know till you try it. Well, that's true, Phil, but there also could be a negative effect. You've made the point that you think it's worth it at this point. I've made the point that I don't know about it, but it really depends on what you're trying to do down the stretch. Are you trying to play freshmen? Are you trying to play young guys? Or are you trying to win football games? There's two different sides to that story, Phil.
And you're really in a position where you're between a rock and a hard place. If you could just put yourself in Chad Morris's shoes while you're trying to make this decision. And really, it's a decision that has been indecision week in, week out, it seems, for the last 2 seasons. But you're either going to entrust your now most winnable game left on the schedule against a conference team to either a quarterback who is completing right at 50% of his passes, that doesn't have really the arm to throw the deep ball too often, that is throwing behind receivers routinely in Ben Hicks, or maybe you look to Nick Starkel, somebody who has thrown 10 interceptions and is having real confidence issues that you can see, play after play? Or are you going to go with the quarterback who gave you one good drive, and based off of that one drive, is that who you entrust this game to? Or are you going with your 4-star recruit who's got a gun of an arm, lightning in his legs, but hasn't seen the field yet? Not once has he seen a game. I mean, this is it almost feels like any decision that you make can backfire. And at this point, those decisions have backfired.
And to your point, Phil, there's going to be a ton of backlash from the fan base either way. If John Stephen Jones fails, if Ben Hicks fails, if Nick Starkel fails, or if KJ Jefferson fails, the fans are going to, well, you shouldn't have done this, you should have done this, or whatever. But one of them succeeds, then I don't know if Chad Morris is going to get a lot of credit. I would be very surprised if KJ Jefferson or John Stephen Jones played the majority of the snaps on Saturday against Mississippi State. They found a way to win. I don't think many fans would give him credit. The response would be, why didn't you do this sooner? Why haven't we seen this prior to Mississippi State? Not, man, what a great coaching move. Way to insert a quarterback that actually let me correct my wording, that can adequately, because of the foot speed, run your offense that you've designed it to be. But, again, he's not going to get any credit even if the guys succeed on Saturday, which I don't think they will. I hope I'm wrong, though.
877-377-6963 to get on the show. That's the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Text us or call us. Halftime or third quarter, whatever you want to call it, brought to you by Breeden RV in Van Buren. The year-end clearance sale continues. You'll find great deals on new RVs, travel trailers starting at $99.95, fifth wheels under $30,000, and Breeden RV and Power Sports gives all new customers maintenance for life for free. Plus, great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Go to BreedenRVs.com or see Breeden RV in Van Buren. Halftime, third quarter continues after the break. We're working long today on ESPN Arkansas.
Don't spend life sitting on your hands. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
They're getting to the point. They get to the red zone. They get to the point in the games where they could make plays to win it, but they just don't. When the plays matter the most, they're unable to convert on it. And that's what makes it just as frustrating, because it's like they're capable of it. It's just a matter that they don't convert it. And when you don't convert the big plays, this is what ends up happening.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
End of your savings start now at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Take up to $14,000 off on remaining 2019 GMC Sierra SLTs, featuring the new body style and tons of new features. Now $14,000 off. Need third row seating? The 2019 GMC Yukon XL has tons of room and all the options and features you demand. Right now, up to $13,000 off. End of your savings start now. Save up to $14,000 off at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
The new Michelin silicone plates last through everything.
On a world record-breaking drive from Alaska to South America in unpredictable conditions.
Thunderstorms, ice storms, they just don't quit.
Rainier Zeidlo chose Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades with advanced Quad-Tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than other blades.
It's coming down in sheets.
Real world proven. Extreme weather wiping performance. Upgrade to Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today. Only at Walmart.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
Hi, I'm Jack with Arvest Bank. My goal today? Land a sick trick on this bike. I'm okay. Maybe I should have let an expert help me accomplish my goal. And for your financial goals, Arvest is the expert. Free Blue Checking is a free account that lets you soar with no monthly fees holding you down. So apply today. When it comes to your finances, trust the experts. Trust Arvest. Watch me attempt more goals at arvest.com/experts.
Hi, this is Lindsay White with White Office Machines. For over 90 years, my family's been serving the greater Fort Smith region with the image industry's newest technologies, as well as providing superior customer service through long-term business relationships. As the area's only authorized Kyocera document solutions dealer, White Office Machines provides the best value with high-speed copiers and the latest multifunction printers. Stop by our office in downtown Fort Smith or in Russellville. Follow us on Facebook or go to whiteoffice.com.
White Office Machines since 1929.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Football, fine weather, and my chance to flip the lot. We're out to sell every single car in our Rath Road Ready inventory and flip the lot during our fall clearance. That's right, every vehicle must go. To make it happen, we're discounting our entire inventory with savings up to $4,300 below retail. Even our special purchase vehicles are included, like 2018 Hyundai Elantra SELs for only $13,991. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires and 50% off brake pads. Don't miss out on the savings. Help us flip the lot. Get the Rath Road Ready vehicle that's perfect for you and save up to $4,300 during the fall clearance at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
The backside, Wilson. Good block by Piero Small. The ball is caught. Touchdown, Kobe Hamilton, who saves his best days for games in Little Rock.
Portis has been infallible.
Portis jump shot. Knocks it down on Bobby Portis.
Those tuning in, this is where the Knicks usually fade in the previous game. Let's see if they can step up tonight.
Portis. Bang! Bobby Portis ties the game. Double team, finds Randall. Kicks it out, Portis. Portis the fake, steps back, three-pointer. Bang! First lead of the night. Randall kicks it out. Portis tries again. Puts it in! Bobby Portis does it again!
They have a little bit after the winning this year.
Barrett misses both. Rebound, Portis. And that'll do it. They're going to let him dribble it out. A thrilling come-from-behind win led by Bobby Portis. And the Knicks get their first victory of the season.
Former Razorback Bobby Portis leads the Knicks with 28 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of the blocks. Big comeback win, first win of the season. They beat a Daniel Gafford-less Bulls, 105-98 at Madison Square Garden. And
Mike Anderson in attendance as well.
Yeah, I was going to get to one good thing about Mike Anderson being in New York City as the St. John's head basketball coach is that he can, I guess at times, see his some of his former players come through. Or some of the players that left the state that he had recruited that might have developed a relationship with at some point as well. I saw a couple of really cool photos of Coach A with both Daniel Gafford and Bobby Portis before the game, and drives the point home that you can get there from here, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Garden was chanting Bobby Portis's name during the game, and he has not had a great season up to this point, but playing against his former team, a lot of his former teammates, you know that he took on that mentality. He's done that to the Bulls several times. He's still ticked off that they didn't sign him to a long-term deal, and they, I think, dealt him to the Wizards, and now he's ended up a Knick, and he's thrived on this whole underdog mentality. Born and raised in the 501. Always,
you get to do that with the Knicks now, by the way.
Proud, which is kind of cool. Like, you got a bunch of young guys, like Kevin Knox and R.J. Barrett, Bobby Portis, Julius Randle, a guy he played in college, who I never would have dreamed are on the same team in the NBA, but that's so cool to watch. I mean, just the mentality. We got a text here from Carl Lavaca on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. He said he had his first MSG moment last night with the infamous Mike Breen bang to top it off. Made it special. Gotta love it for Bobby Portis. We were talking during the break about Breen. That bang is just such a great line of his that goes along with the National Basketball Association.
Well, and I still like just the Marv Albert yes. And of course, maybe being the voice of the Knicks, helps helps your calls last just a little bit more, even though the Knicks don't have the cachet anymore. The Nets do, which is the crazy thing. And look what's happening in the two team cities. Who's got a little more cachet right now in Los Angeles? Even with LeBron and the Lakers, it's the Clippers. Mm-hmm. The Nets are this year without Durant with the injury, but the Nets certainly seem to be the more, I don't know if I'd say popular, but the cooler team, the more millennial team. Ty, the more hip team.
Kevin Durant and both Kyrie Irving spurned the New York Knicks in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. Is there still Brooklyn or yeah? Right?
They are still the Brooklyn Nets. That's right.
I don't know why I would have thought it otherwise, but yeah, just a great moment for Bobby Portis last night. Again, just to hear the echoes of your name in the most iconic basketball arena ever.
Let's play that one piece one more time.
Yeah, do it.
Barrett misses both. Rebound, Portis, and that'll do it. They're going to let him dribble it out. A thrilling come from behind.
There it is. You can hear it in the background there. Yeah. Think about that. That's like Green Bay Packers fans chanting your name throughout Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
That's Yankee Stadium doing the same thing. You do that inside Madison Square Garden. Very cool.
Yeah, and drill 4 threes and just awesome. And every time just pumping up the crowd. They like him, man. And they loved him in Chicago. There was always this free Bobby Portis, free Portis hashtag going around because Chicago fans didn't feel like he got enough playing time. And then he had some good games with the Wizards. So hopefully he finds a home in Madison Square Garden, which not a bad place to be playing basketball and living, Phil, if you ask me.
Arkansas basketball picked anywhere from 7th through 11th. The ESPN college basketball analysts picking Arkansas either in the middle of the pack in the SEC or towards not the bottom, but kind of the bottom of the middle of the SEC. Although there are two top recruits, two top national recruits that have have decisions to make soon.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Kyrie Walker first. He's the one who moved to Phoenix from California as a freshman, committed to Arizona State as a freshman, but his commitment's been open now for what? It's been a while now since his recruiting has been open again. Doesn't have a final list, but Arkansas has as good of a chance as anybody else. It's interesting, though, because Walker's father, with a communication with a writer that covers basketball in Arizona, said that there is the possibility that Walker spurns college basketball, as some others have done recently, and will turn professional and go overseas rather than play college ball in the States for 1 year or 2 years.
This was a 5-star kid and lost a little bit. I don't know if credibility is the right word, but was dropped to 4-star. Still an incredible basketball player. He's listed as a shooting forward. He can play a variety of positions, but he's kind of the out-of-state guy that you should be really keeping your eye on when it comes to Arkansas basketball recruiting. As far as the in-state goes, though, you're getting some ramp-up again. First, you have KK Robinson listed as crystal ball going to Arkansas. Now, as of yesterday, Moses Moody has narrowed it down to 3. Michigan, which Beeline's not there, so I don't even know who's coaching Michigan right now. Virginia, national champion Virginia, and Tony Bennett, and then Arkansas. So he is the Monteverde Academy kid. Because KK's at Oak Hill. It was at North Little Rock. He has narrowed it down. This is a really high 4-star kid that 6'5", shooting guard. He's more of a shooting forward, but man, this recruiting process. He's already gotten Devontae. It'll be curious to see where KK Robinson. I say he's gotten Devontae. Devontae is committed. Devontae Davis out of Jacksonville is committed to Arkansas. So you got KK Robinson left, who's at Oak Hill, was at Bryant. Chris Moore out of West Memphis. Jalen Williams, local kid here at Fort Smith Northside. And then Moses Moody, formerly of North Little Rock, now at Monteverde Academy. So this is like one of those things. There's so much bad that's happened with Arkansas sports lately.
Yeah, you don't want to believe.
I don't want to jinx it, but my gosh, like 5 4-star kids, some that are playing, 3 that are playing in-state now, 5 that are from the state. If he could pull that in his first recruiting class, I might lose my mind on the air. You'll have to cover the entire show one day because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll be speechless.
Mine will be blown. Yeah. My head will have been blown. By the way, Juwan Howard is the Michigan basketball coach.
Okay, I should have known that. I don't know why. For Forgot about that. I actually put up the clip of them beating Juwan Howard, Elite 8 yesterday. So, yeah.
So
That's
this
wild,
crystal
man.
ball, I know it's part of 24/7 Sports.
Correct.
How accurate? I'm not asking for like percentage, but if they're picking KK Robinson,
Rivals has got a
if they're
future
picking
cast
Moody.
too. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, these are these usually accurate choices? Is this something to? Because we just got a text from another listener. I think it's Carl in Lavaca. You know, he's pointing out Moses Moody's picked crystal ball for Arkansas. Is this something that you feel you can believe in? Because I can see it on our FaceTime here. You want to believe, but there's something in you that's holding back.
Well, everything's possible in college basketball, college football, college baseball recruiting. A kid could just change his mind. Something could happen in the midst of the recruiting process. But the fact that Rivals has some future casted there, Crystal has it future casted there, it seems like that Eric Musselman has done a really good job based on what Kevin McPherson is reporting and others when it comes to his recruitment. Muss is just and again, we don't have much FaceTime. We don't have a lot of sample data, but it seems like he's bought into the culture and he's done a really good job of recruiting. And I know he's made more of his mainstay when it comes to recruiting in the transfer market, but man, 5 4-star potentials that could end up in Arkansas, in-state kids for that matter, which every Arkansan listening right now would love to see 5 in-state 4-star kids show up in this next recruiting class. Would be pretty incredible. And for that matter, you think about it. Devontae's kind of like a combo guard. He's like 6'4". KK, I think, is about 6'2". Chris Moore is more of a power forward, a little smaller, about 6'6", but he's really bulky. Then you have Moses Moody, 6'5", more of a shooting forward. Jalen's a power forward / center. It lines up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could all potentially play on the floor at the same time at once. Which, can you imagine the Arkansas fan base if they see next year 5 in-state freshmen roll out all at once at the same time? There might be an earthquake in Bud Walton Arena, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, because they have craved for Arkansas basketball to be back where it was with Nolan. Now, Mike got it to a certain point, but kind of leveled off. I don't know if Muss is going to get it there, but he's a lot likely more to get it there if he can pull in these 5 in-state kids. And I say in-state, 2 of them out-of-state, but it's just kind of that vernacular that we're using with these guys.
It's going to be pretty interesting in a couple of weeks because you got the early signing period starting, says the second Wednesday of November. So it's fast upon you. In 2 weeks is when the early signing period begins. Runs for 1 week. So that could be a pretty crazy week. And it's right at the start of the Eric Musselman era. Basketball season will have started by then. You'll be in, your second week of competition. And it'll be very interesting to pay attention to. All right, we're going to step aside. After the break, we are joined by Neil Price, the radio voice of Mississippi State football and men's basketball. Get a preview into what's going on with the Bulldogs, who visit Fayetteville's Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturday. And we will talk with Neil Price after the break. So stick around as halftime / third quarter continues on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
The fall celebration is here at Crabtree RV. Take advantage of RV show pricing on hundreds of new models, Deer Hunter specials under $10K, and wholesale to the public prices on dozens of pre-owned RVs. And the most money for your trade. These deals are so good, it's scary. So stop in today. The new 2020s are arriving daily, and the all-new 2019 models must go. Sale ends October 31st. Only from Crabtree RV in Alma. Exit 13 off I-40. Crabtree RV, where your family's dreams come true.
Always get more at Orr.
We always put the customer first at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships has grown based on one simple principle. Give the customer more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it today. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Including included with any new vehicle sold. Or Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith and 24/7 at OrChevyFS.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You always get more at Orr.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the chicken pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Ball's on the ground. Hobbs are going to scoop and score. They pick it up at the 5. Scooter Harris. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Our guests join us on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. And on the hotline right now is Neil Price, radio voice of Mississippi State football and men's basketball. He'll be on the call on the Bulldogs radio network Saturday in Fayetteville. The Hogs and Mississippi State renew the rivalry again. Neil, thanks for joining us during a week of preparation. How are you?
Doing good, Phil. How are you?
Doing really good, really good. So we've got a couple of desperate football teams, I think. And I think Coach Joe Moorhead pushed back a little bit at his press conference yesterday when the word desperation was tossed to him, and the idea of how desperate is this team for a win. So in your estimation, because we're looking at Arkansas right now as a fairly desperate team, 16 straight SEC losses, 5 straight, Mississippi State trying to make sure they don't lose a 5th straight and try to right the season. So would you think that the word desperate is accurate to describe how Mississippi State would look at this Saturday's game?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's for a different reason than what Arkansas is looking through that prism at. For Mississippi State, especially for the older guys on the state team, it's a chance to keep that bowl streak, or at least the bowl eligibility streak going. If they can get to 6 wins by the end of the year, they would be eligible for a 10th straight bowl game, and that's a streak they'd like to keep building on, I'm sure. Point of pride, and then I think just if you're a competitive person, and this does apply to both teams, you want to finish the year the best that you can. Whatever win total is still on the board, you want to get there. So, State's going to have some obstacles in its way outside of the team that it's going to be facing on the field on Saturday. I mean, they're banged up pretty good. They played down at one point, I think, 8 starters in the Texas A&M game this past Saturday on the road, and not sure that they're going to have all those guys back, but they need a couple of the key contributors who didn't play last week to hopefully get back on the field. And then on top of that, you've got that monster kind of hanging over you of are you going to qualify for the bowl game or not? So to say that there's not some desperation, I don't think that's totally accurate. I think it's just human nature to know that those things are out there, and you want to try to reach them any way you can.
So this season, the NFL draft obviously did a number on Mississippi State's defense from last year. Injuries, obviously, you brought up the concern. I know the secondary has been pretty banged up. The situation with suspensions, I guess, week in, week out, you're not quite sure who's playing, who's not. Is it safe to say that depth has been the number one issue for Mississippi State, or at least over these last 4 games or so, or is there something else that goes deeper?
I think it's depth, and I think it's youth. I think those are the two big things, and they probably have impacted the defensive side of the ball more than anything on offense. Now, there's one key position on offense, quarterback, where you could say, okay, you got 2 new guys who have played that role. Tommy Stevens early in the year until injuries kind of forced him to take a back seat. And now Garrett Schrader, who, despite being an early enrollee, is still 18 years old, playing in the toughest division in college football. That has been a significant factor in where the offense has kind of had its struggles, because you've just not had consistency at that position, whether it's in performance or the person who's playing the position. Back over to defense, the suspensions have probably left that side thinner along the line than they anticipated being, and that's a defensive line, mind you, that lost not only 2 guys that are playing in the NFL, in Simmons and Sweat, but they lost their entire 2 deep from last year, either to graduation or to the draft. And, they had guys in the secondary that they felt good about, Cameron Dantzler being chief among them, but he's been banged up a little bit. So you're without your top corner, and you're really putting a lot of faith in 2 redshirt freshman defensive tackles to try and slow down opposing run games enough that you can give a pretty good linebacking core a chance to make some plays for you. And it just, it hadn't happened consistently this year because of all that. So coaching staff didn't want to make it an excuse, certainly, but it is a reality, I think. That's the way I've tried to look at it this year. You're going to have growing pains because a lot of young guys are playing because of those issues that we've talked about, and they kind of are what they are right now.
We're talking with Neil Price, play-by-play guy for the Mississippi State Bulldogs here on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Neil, so whether it was Chad Morris or whether it was Joe Moorhead, when they came into the SEC as head coaches, they were known as heralded offensive guys. Chad, what he did at Clemson and SMU. Joe, what he was able to do with McSorley, Barkley at Penn State, and then also what he did for FCS Furman. Do you think the biggest reason that they haven't succeeded so far offensively to the point where people expected them is because of the quality of SEC defenses?
I think that's a piece of it. I think it's always going to be tougher in the SEC than anywhere else anyone has been working their way up the ladder. And that's no slight on any place that Chad Morris or Joe Moorhead have been. I just think that until you coach in this league, until you've played, if you're a player in this league, you never can fully be prepared, I think, for what it is. Now, that said, if you want proof that Chad Morris and Joe Moorhead know how to coach football, look at what SMU's doing right now with Chad Morris's players. Look at what Penn State has been able to accomplish offensively without Joe Moorhead there and a lot of guys he helped recruit. They know what good football players look like, and I think they understand the best way to put them in position to be successful. What I also think both of them are dealing with is that you've got square pegs and round holes to a certain degree, because both of them have their system and what they want to accomplish offensively, and both may have inherited teams where you don't have the personnel to do exactly what you want to do. So you find yourself having to try to adapt, but also bring along the younger players, the players that they've recruited into the programs at Mississippi State and Arkansas. You don't want to compromise to the point where you're not bringing those guys into the system that you ultimately want to run. So I think that's the combination of factors that have kind of led to where both of these guys are. in relation to building programs. And building is the key word, and that doesn't happen in 2 years. It happens over time, and we just work in a business, unfortunately, where there's not a lot of patience and empathy.
Neil, you just made a point that I want to touch on. We only got about a minute left, so try and keep it to that if you can. There's been a lot of Arkansas fans that have been frustrated by the fact that SMU is actually having success, that they're undefeated, that they're heading into Memphis undefeated to take on Memphis in College game day. And then for Penn State, I know they're undefeated this year. We'll see what happens with Ohio State. Are there any Mississippi State fans like Arkansas fans that feel like Penn State is better off with Joe Moorhead? Because we've gotten a lot of calls and a lot of texts that feel like SMU is better off without Chad Morris.
I don't know. I think if you looked hard enough, you'd find somebody that could answer yes to that question for you. But I think you'd find just as many who would claim that, Joe's our guy and we're happy to have him. It's kind of like statistics. You could bend that number any way you wanted to get the result you were looking for. I just think it's a product of the world we live in today. So you're never going to please everybody. And when people are as passionate about something as they are about college football, sometimes you get the totally irrational opinion, and sometimes you get the voice of reason in there too. So I'm not the right person to answer that one for you. But I think that both of these guys, given time, I think will ultimately be successful. But that's the thing. How much time are they going to be given?
Neil, in 15 seconds or less, is the number one thing for Mississippi State this Saturday to not turn the ball over? I know that's been a big issue.
Yes. That quick enough for you?
Yes, it is. That was 3 seconds or less. Neil Price, appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much. Look forward maybe to get a chance to see you during baseball season.
All right, guys. I appreciate the time, Phil. We look forward to seeing you if the opportunity comes up.
Absolutely. That's Neil Price. Right. Neil did women's basketball and baseball at Kentucky, and then took the number one job at football and men's basketball at Mississippi State. I believe this is his third year doing that.
I love that answer he said about the turnovers. He's like, yeah.
It is the truth. It's the absolute truth. Look, you look at where Mississippi State ranks in turnovers, bottom of the barrel in the SEC. 8th worst in the country with 18 offensive turnovers. If the Hogs can force some turnovers, maybe, and get good field position, this is a winnable game. This is a winnable game. Mississippi State is a beatable team, especially on the road this Saturday at Reynolds Razorback Stadium. You want to react to that interview? You want to react to anything here on Halftime Third Quarter? 877-377-6963 is our Cherokee Casino hotline, and Halftime will return right after this break.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
Eagle Crest Golf Course is open, and winter rates are now in effect. Just $35 to enjoy Eagle Crest Golf Course, card included. Winter rates are back, and Eagle Crest is ready for you. Lush zoysia fairways, beautiful bent grass greens, and the best views in the River Valley. Just $35, card included. So get your golf buddies together and head to Eagle Crest Golf Course. Winter rates just $35. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Right now at Randall Ford, get 0% for 72 months on a new 2019 Ford F-150 LXT, plus $1,000 special retail bonus cash. But that's not all. How about up to $13,000 off MSRP? Or how about only $299 a month? That's it. Just $299 a month for a brand new 2019 Ford EcoSport, only from Randall Ford, America's 4th oldest Ford dealer. Stop in today. Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers, or online at randallford.com. Home of the lowest price guarantee.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine & Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Metal Mart offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shops, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. They have locations in Fort Smith, Mayflower, Jonesboro, Pine Bluff, and Little Rock. Or you can find them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Hi, I'm Serafin from La Huerta. Here we like everything caliente. We have daily, lunch, and dinner drink specials. Happy hour every day from 2 to 6. Check it out! Football and drink specials all season. Voted best of the best Mexican restaurant and best of the best margarita. We have over 15 TVs for your viewing pleasure. We have 4 locations to serve you. Open 7 days a week. La Huertas. Eat until you're hurt. In Fort Smith. La Huertas.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your number one Arkansas fan.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Hicks going to throw off play action. Back shoulder, end zone. Touchdown, Arkansas! Mike Woods, 13 yards, and Arkansas grabs the lead.
Back here on Halftime, third quarter, whatever you want to call it. Still having trouble with it. Not to tell you what. Yeah, I might be awake until tomorrow's show, Ty, with this giant cup of coffee. I overbrewed the coffee for a show that started at 3. I did. But I'm not going to waste great coffee, so I'm just going to suck it down, hope that the World Series game goes into like 15 or 16 innings. And maybe by the time the final out is recorded in the 16th inning and Houston is celebrating their second World Championship, then I'll be ready to go to sleep.
Oh, I don't know if the Astros want your stamp of approval, and by stamp I mean prediction. I don't know.
I picked them to win the World Series at the start of the postseason, so
I don't know if they want that. What happens if the Nats win tonight and then tomorrow night?
If the Nats win tonight, then I'll be happy because that means you're going to a 7th game, which you know how I am with World Series. Yeah. I'm just rooting for the thing to go as long as it possibly can. That's all. I just want baseball season to continue and not end.
And I think that's fair. Bill, that kind of bridges into I get off my lawn, the World Series.
It does. You can go ahead and do the intro, and we can start. You can start with "Get Off My Lawn."
Get off my lawn. Listen, old man. Do not your what? Announce my presence with authority. Perhaps I could be of some assistance. The old man.
Get Off My Lawn. Presented by Breeden RV and Power Sports.
The year-end clearance sale continues at Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren or at BreedenRVs.com. Great deals on new RVs. Travel trailers starting at $99.95. Fifth wheel starting under $30,000. All new customers get maintenance for life for free. All right, Ty, so you get to start this, and I know you wanted to bring it up yesterday. We never got to it because we were too busy arguing about quarterbacks and things like that.
You act like that was a bad thing. That was
No, it was a great thing.
Probably our best show to date.
It really was. It was a great thing.
Maybe we should start yelling at each other more. People seem to really flock to the podcast. We had more comments and calls yesterday than I think we ever had on the program. So,
but we also couldn't get to the 2 young ladies who are no longer allowed to view a Major League Baseball game inside a stadium.
Pour one out. And I don't know how authentic that picture is that Julia Rose put on Twitter, if that's an actual, like, the document. Because I can't like, I can't authenticate that. Like,
yeah, I mean, who knows this vice president of Major League Baseball that sent the letter banning them. So you got to explain who these ladies are.
Okay.
Julia Rose and Lauren Banner.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them, but apparently they're all the rage on Instagram, which I don't have anymore.
Just the classic hot models on social media. Phil, the wind caught their shirts and it went up in the air. They can't help that. By the way,
the wind caught their hands pulling their shirts up as they stood behind home plate on live television.
Listen. We talk about being on fair playing levels when it comes to men and women. If I take off my shirt, I don't get banned from the MLB. I'm celebrating. I'm the guy that just took off his shirt. Now, how is that fair?
You're absolutely right about that. And look, CBS is able to show Joe Burrow's
You
bare
brought up that
ass
point.
over and over again. As if it's a joke. It's funny at that point.
It's
but
funny
I think
if it's
the
a
difference
dude.
here, these young ladies were promoting. Is it a porn website? Is it a publication of some sort? Because they have this. I don't remember the name of it. I think it starts with shag, but it's some sort of a publication or website that features essentially softcore porn, which they own and are promoting, and that's how they got the message out, by pulling up their shirts on the Major League Baseball World Series telecast on Fox.
And to be honest,
it was product placement, essentially.
That's true. Cards on the table. I did not do extensive research on this subject because you type in certain things pop up, and we don't want that virus and all that crap. But all I know is actually, I think this isn't the first time they've done this before.
Okay.
I'm
so they've been warned. They've been warned before.
I don't know if it was just at MLB sanctioned events, but I feel like they've done this before. But I still maintain, till my grave, that the wind caught their shirts and they flew up.
Look, Major League Baseball is a sport, and minor league baseball did it too. They used to pay a woman named Morgana. I forget Morgana's last name, but she was known as Morgana the Kissing Bandit, who for like 40 years would be paid, sometimes paid, other times just did it. She would leap over the outfield fence and would run, and she was very well endowed. She would run to either the batter or a pitcher or whomever in the field, running in a way to see everything bobbing every which way, and she would kiss a player on the field. She was banned from Major League ballparks for doing exactly that, really for just running on the field. And then sometimes they paid her to do this. So look, the only different, they, meaning Major League Baseball teams or even minor league baseball teams that I worked for, my first job in professional baseball, we brought Morgana the Kissing Bandit to Fayetteville, North Carolina, to jump over the outfield fence, run to the pitcher, and kiss him in front of thousands of adoring people, as if this was like a thing.
By the way, I got a question. So, when you type in Fayetteville on Google or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, the first thing that pops up is North Carolina. Is it a cool town or does it suck? Like how?
Fayetteville, North Carolina? Yeah. No, look, now I haven't been there since '95.
It's a blank hole.
In 1995, it was a little bit of a scary place. Okay. It's a military town, so that doesn't make it scary, but it's a transient sort of a city. Fort Bragg is right there. Pope Air Force is right there. And from my memories of Fayetteville were that it wasn't the prettiest place to be. Fayetteville, Arkansas is light years nicer than Fayetteville, North Carolina.
And I meant to talk with Neil about this, and I'll say this, and I'll let you go to get off my lawn. But I'm wondering how difficult it is for Joe Moorhead and Chad Morris in terms of just recruiting, the overall perception of what Starkville is, and then specifically what Arkansas is. Because you remember, you get up the tarmac at X&A, and you're just like, what did I get myself into? Then you actually drive in, you're like, listen, this is pretty cool. And then you actually walk around, it's like, Fayetteville's a cool place. But it's just the perception itself of Starkville and Fayetteville. It's tough on coaches to try and recruit to there regardless of sport.
Well, and look, Ben Howland isn't having that much of a problem recruiting for basketball at Mississippi State. Vic Schaefer's not having trouble doing the same women's basketball there. Neither is Mississippi State baseball. Look, Starkville's probably the toughest place to live in the SEC. If I'm just going to be honest, it's an outpost town that doesn't have much. It just has a large university, but they have very loyal fans. There's no doubt about that. They have fun traditions, and they're in the SEC. So, I think if you're in the SEC, you got a chance to recruit top athletes that a lot of other schools can't. I should get to my get off my lawn here. So this, the NCAA is now announced, we got into this earlier, that Board of Governors of the NCAA has now started the process to enhance name, image, and likeness opportunities for student athletes. So Senator Richard Burr, Republican of North Carolina, has reacted by tweeting that he is planning to introduce a law that he says if college athletes are going to make money off their likeness while in school, their scholarships should be treated like income. I'll be introducing legislation that subjects scholarship given to athletes who choose to, quote unquote, cash in to income taxes. This is royally stupid. You don't tax non-student athletes who have a job on their scholarships. What's the point of taxing the scholarship for student athletes other than just to, I don't know, try to make a point of staying backwards in some ways. Look, there's a reason why the NCAA is using the term modernization. This is taking college athletics from a little bit of a dark age to what this country is partially about, which is opportunity and the ability to the pursuit of happiness without being held back. And making money through your image and likeness is exactly that.
These responses are legendary on his feed right now. Oh my gosh.
Oh yes. You go to his Twitter feed and he's getting destroyed.
What was your favorite fireside chat with FTR?
That's exactly the point. It's keeping things in the dark ages for no other reason than just to keep them in the dark ages. And it's vindictive. It's a vindictive thing to do towards student athletes. And it's moronic. And Senator Richard Burr, time to get off my lawn or get out of the Senate. We'll see what the voters think about that next time around. And here's another one. Andy Dalton, longtime quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, has publicly been benched today during a bye week by head coach Jack Taylor. It'll be Ryan Finley starting next week, and Andy Dalton gets publicly benched on his 32nd birthday. Happy birthday. Get off my football field.
I think he's lost 12 straight, or the Bengals have. Maybe it's not, he hadn't started in every game, but I think they've lost 12 straight. If I remember the graphic from SportsCenter earlier this morning, Bengals haven't been worth a hoot lately. And unfortunately for Andy Dalton, on his birthday, he is receiving the news that he's no longer going to be the starter for his franchise. I wonder how long he's going to be a Bengal. It doesn't seem like there's a long-term contract in store for him anytime soon, Phil.
They play the Baltimore Ravens next Sunday, so bench during a bye week on your birthday. Andy Dalton won 50 games his first 5 seasons. He's 18-32-1 since then. He has a base salary of $17.5 million next year. Yep. Get off my Bengals, I think would be the way that he'll go about it.
Hate to see it.
We're heading into our third hour of halftime/third quarter. Cherokee Casino Hotline open for you, 877-377-6963. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the top of the hour break.
The Ram Power Days event at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma is underway. You can now get 0% APR for 60 months plus $2,000 combined bonus cash for up to $10,348 in estimated total value on select all-new 2019 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4 models. Become one of the many proud and satisfied Ram owners with a great deal this month during Ram Power Days event at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler. Log on to buywilliams.com for more information.
Make a hot spring spa part of your day-to-day routine now and discover what it means to get more out of each day. Hi, Tommy Kraft for our good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Burton's is having an instant rebate event where you get $1,000 in instant rebate with the purchase of select hot springs models. Burton Pools and Spas is at 6121 Zero Street in Fort Smith and 725 South 48th Street in Springdale. Just imagine being able to come home from a hard day at work and discover slip into your own hot spring spa from Burton Pools and Spas and let the stress of everyday life just slip away. And you're going to be totally impressed with all the features and options that are available on a hot spring spa. See it for yourself in Fort Smith or in Springdale and find out more about how you can get a $1,000 instant rebate with a purchase of a select hot spring spa today. That's Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, or find out more online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
Mentor's Lumber True Value has the lowest prices on the items you use every day. Today, 4 packs of GE LED light bulbs are just $9.99 each. Choose from 5-watt or 8-watt soft white or daylight dimmable bulbs. They are all rated for 15,000 hours of life. Head over to the electrical department for these bargains of the month now, while supplies last. Mentor's Lumber True Value with locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville.
Light bulbs burn out, so it's dark.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Cloudy skies, a chance of some showers and scattered storms today. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be in the upper 40s north, low 60s south. Showers likely, a few thunderstorms with us tonight. An overnight low will drop down mid-40s north, low 50s south, and more showers, a few storms for Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
wide
it?
Open again. All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Oh, wait, we're supposed to do another hour? I thought we'd do a 2-hour show. What's going on here? What's going on here? The end of the workday for most people, but halftime third quarter continues into almost uncharted waters. A third hour as we fill in for the 3 to 6 time slot today. Ruskin and Zach having their I guess they're just moving into the new studio. So they are weighed down with boxes and cables and equipment and can't do any talking right now. But they'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 6. We'll be moving back to our usual 12 to 2 time slot. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson. Cherokee Casino Hotline's open for you, 877-377-6963. We went into the break talking briefly about Richard Burr, the senator from North Carolina, who wants to introduce legislation that subjects scholarships given to student athletes who profit off their name, image, and likeness. He wants to tax the scholarships, and I don't know necessarily like what the ratio is supposed to be on Twitter, like what a good ratio is, right, Ty? I find, Nikki Chavanel, our friend from Rivals, has on her, I think on her Twitter feed account, on her profile, it says she's looking for that magical 3-to-1 ratio.
Twitter.
So, right, but for some, still most of us have the thing, right? So I don't know if Richard Burr's ratio is very good because the tweet that he put out announcing his indication of this tax that he wants to introduce this is going to blow up in his face if he really tries it. Almost 12,000 replies to just 2,000 likes and getting up to around 650 retweets. The replies usually are never good, and none of them are. In fact, some of them are downright nasty and funny all at the same time.
I think my favorite tweet that I've ever put out is the one of the Missouri students that created that music video when they were heading off to the SEC.
That was that was like your social media shining moment.
Let's correct it. Social media pinnacle, because it got like 2.2 million views, and I will never peak beyond that. But it's just funny. There are obviously the people that had seen it and that loved seeing it on their timeline, others that hated seeing it, and then there are others that were blown away by it because they had never seen it before. There was a lot of Missouri fans that were ticked off at me that brought it up again. A lot of Arkansas fans and SEC fans were thoroughly enjoying seeing that crap that was displayed on the tweeter machine. But yeah, to your point, Bird, that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you could refute that in so many different ways. I don't get it. I just move along. That's like the old man yelling at the cloud picture that we always refer back to. Phil.
Does he realize like how popular Duke basketball players are and North Carolina basketball players are? And I mean, the list goes on in a state like just North Carolina. If you just don't even worry about the other 49 states, to his own constituents, to the people that he's trying to show off to here, this is just a moronic stance to take.
Yeah.
Moronic. All right, let's see. Arkansas is a 7.5-point underdog, according to the various sports books this weekend against Mississippi State. Thankfully, well, I don't know if that. Thankfully, no LSU, no Alabama, so you don't have any like ridiculous lines. Although maybe Auburn favored by 19.5 is semi-ridiculous. Oh, look at this one, A&M, a 39-point favorite at home against Texas San Antonio. Arkansas, a home dog, minus 7.5.
When it comes to betting lines, what I've always been told by people out in Vegas that I've talked to is the neutral site games, obviously you're evened up. If you're at home, you're just theoretically favored by 3 points. You're automatically given 3 points. So on a neutral site, Mississippi State would be favored by 10.5, is if you wanted to equate that out to where to be on a neutral site. So Arkansas definitely is the underdog in this game, not only on the road, neutral site, but at home as well. I'm curious to see where the money goes, Phil. Are people buying in to the fact that Mississippi State is going to turn it around? They're on, again, a 4-game losing streak, if I remember that correctly. Or is Arkansas finally going to get their first win of the season? Now, they've covered a decent amount this season. I don't have the exact numbers and record when it comes to them covering off the top of my head. They weren't able to against Alabama, but a couple times this season they've covered. They've lost, but they've still covered.
Both teams are 2-6 against the spread.
I say that. Well,
Mississippi State has not covered on the road. Arkansas at home 2-3 against the spread. Little money is tilted towards Mississippi State. Line opened at 7, and it's grown by 0.5 point on about 3 or 4 of the Vegas lines that my live odds app adheres to. So the question is, and I guess there's various ways to ask the same question here, but it's, you talk about hot seat. So whose seat is hotter? Of the head coaches here, who really need a victory to communicate to their fans that things are either that the bottom isn't dropping out for Mississippi State or for Chad Morris, that you have that first conference victory to point to as potentially a turning point in the second year of your program. And I think, all right, so let's look at Joe Moorhead here. Inherits a program from Dan Mullen that really had some forward momentum. What did Neil Price say? The bowl streak is at 9. They're trying to get it to 10 straight years of bowl eligibility. But Moorhead also, at least for him, it feels like there is an escape pod, this whole Rutgers situation. I mean, he is a guy he's from Pittsburgh. He's more of an East Coaster. It's not that his system or, that guys out of the North don't work in the South. But there is potentially a Power 5 team or whatever Rutgers really is that he can escape to. And he's not going to answer questions about this right now. No coach will. But if there's smoke, then there's potentially fire. So, could he potentially be looking at leaving Mississippi State at the end of the second season if things don't go the way that he would like them to go, and maybe look at trying to rebuild Rutgers, which quite honestly, I mean, I would look at rebuilding Rutgers in the Big Ten as more difficult as trying to keep Mississippi State relevant in the SEC. I mean, Rutgers has it like no Power 5 team has it, I think.
It's been a long time since the 1 year of Greg Schiano, Ray Rice. I can't remember the quarterback that year when they were actually somewhat decent at college football. That has been quite – and I think they had a year or two with Savage at QB, but it's a tough position, man. It's not a great place to recruit to football-wise, and it's not. I don't think it's a good basketball school either. So is that more of an academic school?
It's the State University of New Jersey. I mean, it's a good school as far as I know. But as far as athletics go, there's not a ton there. They've had a little success in women's basketball. They've had a little success here and there in men's basketball. But the move out of the move to the Big Ten just didn't really. It's not a school that fits in with a lot of the others. I mean, the best football players in New Jersey don't go to Rutgers; they go to Penn State.
Yeah, and go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, I mean, it's just it has its share of athletes. It's just that those athletes don't view Rutgers as the place to go. Even with the move to the Big Ten, all that does is open up the rest of the Big Ten.
The floodgates.
For those kids to go, look at playing.
So when you look at Chad Morris and Joe Moorhead, we've talked about these guys coming in as big-time offensive guys. That's what they thought of. That's why they got their jobs. Their quarterbacks have not necessarily floundered. I think a lot of fans would say Arkansas's QBs have floundered or Morris, but under-delivered and not stood up to expectations. Whether it's Nick Fitzgerald last year, Garrett Schrader at this point, again, is a true freshman, so you kind of have to take a little grain of salt when it comes to him. And then also it's Tommy Stevens, who's dealt with injuries, so it's really hard to justify where he's at Mississippi State so far early. But then for Chad Morris, Cole Kelly, Ty Story, Nick Starkel, Ben Hicks. We'll see what happens down the line with either John Stephen Jones or KJ Jefferson, see if they get, in KJ's case, any playing time, or John Stevens more. But that's really one theme that you look at their pass. McSorley is the biggest piece of evidence you have with Penn State, one of the best Penn State quarterbacks ever. He was instrumental, and I'm speaking to Joe Moorhead, in his development over there. And then Chad Morris, Taj Boyd, Sean Watson, Ben Hicks, and not Ben Hicks at Arkansas, Ben Hicks at SMU. I think that's really puzzling to both Mississippi State fans and Arkansas fans why they haven't gone off the ground at the quarterback position, Phil.
Well, and I think initially the thought was to have Tommy Stevens, the transfer from Penn State.
That's why they brought him in, 6'5",
take over.
Big dude, yeah.
You heard all throughout the summer and the Manning Passing Academy that Stevens looked like he threw a beautiful ball. This is exactly what Mississippi State needs, fits into what Joe Moorhead likes to do. But he's been banged up, and really since the third week of the season, it's been Garrett Schrader's team.
And they lost.
And Schrader runs almost as much as he throws.
Helicopter thing that you got hit earlier this season.
I've thought about the John Elway run in the Super Bowl against the Packers. That's what that play reminded me of.
And was it Keontae Thompson that transferred? So you got that too to think about that they've had to deal with.
Well, plenty of desperation. And we'll continue with more halftime third quarter after the break. ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. This is Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
They're getting to the point. They get to the red zone. They get to the point in the games where they could make plays to win it, but they just don't. When the plays matter the most, they're unable to convert on it. And that's what makes it just as frustrating, because it's like they're capable of it. It's just a matter that they don't convert it. And when you don't convert the big plays, this is what ends up happening.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Always get more at Orr.
We always put the customer first at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships has grown based on one simple principle. Give the customer more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it today. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold, Orr Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith, and 24/7 at OrChevyFS.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You always get more at Orr.
This is Mark Hurst. At Hurst Family Dental Care, October is our anniversary month, and to say thank you for 2 amazing years, we want to give something back to you. If you're a new patient to our office and call during October to schedule a cleaning appointment and mention this ad, we will include a comprehensive exam at no additional cost. If you're one of our existing patients and call during October, we will give you a $100 credit toward any planned treatment. Give us a call at 474-1972 and mention this ad and let us show our appreciation to you. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
I bet you're ready to finish that warm weather renovation. Whether you are a do-it-yourself remodeler or a full-time contractor, the paint store in Van Buren is friendly and special orders are no bother. Sue and Vicki, with over 30 years of experience, welcomes all your painting questions and will help you feel confident in your choices of colors from Richards Paint. The paint store is at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren. Come see them or check them out on Facebook today.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Hey, man.
Hey.
I like your new Toyota Tundra.
Thanks. I got a great deal on it at the Toyota Tailgate event. Now I can spend my weekends out in the wilderness, tackling all sorts of terrain, kicking up rocks, barreling down deep forest trails.
Oh, totally.
Going on rough, tough, rugged journeys. You know, really just getting out, connecting with nature.
Right.
I'm talking ATVing, mountain biking, taking the boat out, weekends jam-packed with activities.
That's cool.
I mean, except on game days. On game days, I'll still be here tailgating with you.
Oh, good. Because you're the only one with a big enough grill.
Nice. Real nice.
Hurry in to the Toyota Tailgate event for a great deal on trucks made to withstand your weekend. Qualified buyers can get 0% APR financing for 72 months, plus a $2,000 special edition bonus on a new 2019 Toyota Tundra Special Edition. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. Visit buyatoyota.com for details.
Offers available in select states and in 11/4/19.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Whaley, he gets the call, fighting for the goal line. Touchdown, Arkansas! Devwa Whaley goes the final yard as the Hogs march 64 yards in 10 plays to take the lead.
I was looking around to see if there was some football on TV tonight. No Maction. Maction really gets going in a week. I thought that the MAC would play some Tuesday football, but no, they get some Tuesday football going next week, the week after, and the week after. So you can watch various NBA games. The World Series is less than 2 hours from Game 6. Verlander and Strasburg. The Nationals did say that Max Scherzer is cleared to start Game 7 if there is a Game 7. So potentially, and I know the Astros might throw Garrett Cole in Game 7 if it gets to that and start him on short rest. Or this Jose Urquidy, the guy that came out of the bullpen threw 5 great innings the other day. That's really something else.
Was he Game 3 or 4 that he pitched?
That was 4. And I know they could throw Greinke in Game 7, but Greinke hasn't been a great postseason pitcher. He was shaky. In what game did he start? Game 2? No, he started Game 3. So I don't know, but usually for a Game 7, all hands are on deck. All right, speaking of good football games to watch, this Memphis SMU game is being blown up nationally, and for good reason, by ESPN Game Day. They're going to do it on Beale Street. Where else in Memphis are you going to do it, right? Sun Records, it's not enough space.
You can't really do it at the Liberty Bowl either. There's nothing really.
No, it's the Liberty Bowl is not the place to have a giant celebration to show off the city. So makes sense to do it on Beale Street. And this is the top American Conference game of the season, maybe the top AAC game ever, I know it doesn't involve UCF, but it involves two programs that, I mean, it is Halloween time, so you could say that both Memphis and SMU were sort of like zombie football programs for a good long while. I mean, SMU just kind of explodes onto the scene this year with this 8-0 start. Memphis has had the build of the last, 5 or 6 years that started with Justin Fuente, Mike Norvell continuing it. And it sort of is, look, I mean, if you can have game day, ESPN college football game day in Memphis, of all places, you can get it to Fayetteville. Not this year, not next year, but sometime in the future it can happen because, I mean, look, Memphis has never been a blue blood in football. SMU needed to pay players in order to get to that level. If these programs can be where they are right now, and in SMU's case, pretty quick turnaround from a 2-loss season, you have the sense that, anybody can do the same thing.
Yeah, it's Sonny Dykes in his second year has his team undefeated. You look at Mike Norvell, he's in his 4th season. A lot of Arkansas fans really like Mike Norvell. Some of them have even been mentioned on this program that they wish he would have gotten the job. They're 7-1 up to this point, and these are programs, Phil, that Memphis, that's a basketball school, and it really looks like Penny Hardaway is getting it back to that point. They were kind of down in the dumps for a while, but with some of the stuff he's doing over there on the basketball side of things, it looks like that's going to be amped up rather quickly.
By the way, I saw, Penny's not very happy with the way his team has been playing in exhibitions. They got out rebounded by a Division II team. He said we need to make changes. This was before their first game of the year. Pretty young club, so I know he's got a lot of talent there. But that national championship that he predicted, I know it's October, so I shouldn't say that isn't going to happen.
I think similar to the Cleveland Browns, there's so much hype around that basketball team, and I believe they have the number 1 recruiting class for this next season. If everything holds up and these kids end up getting to campus, I don't know if that's going to pan out this year. Now, maybe down the road he gets things going, but again, this is a guy that hasn't had any collegiate head coaching experience, if I remember that correctly.
He was an AAU coach.
Yeah, he was in the AAU circuit for quite some time. So that's a lot. There's a lot that needs to be done there before you actually see what happens. I think a lot more has been said than a lot more has been done. But both these programs, back to the football side of things, Phil, they're in the dumps. I mean, SMU really hasn't done anything since the death penalty. You could look at what Chad Morris was able to restore it a little bit. June Jones got it. He had a couple good years under him, but just kind of like mediocre, okay, not anything great. And then Memphis, what Justin Fuente was able to do before he vaulted for Virginia Tech, and Norvell seems to have got it back to a point where this is going to be a pretty memorable game. Game day skipping the world's largest cocktail party for this game.
That would be a game they would be covering much more often than not.
And yeah, absolutely. And I know the game's on CBS, so that might be one of the things. I believe this game's on ESPN, right?
This is an ABC telecast.
Okay, so it's ESPN, ABC, yeah.
This is Fowler, Herb Street, Maria Taylor.
Okay, so they got that. And I know that Game Day's had 8 teams from the SEC this year, or eight times an SEC team has been featured in Game Day, so maybe there's that. But this is what, like, in a sense, you want Arkansas to be. Now, I'm not talking about the history of the 3 programs between SMU, Arkansas, Memphis. What you want it, but you want them to rise from the ashes. We've talked about what Baylor's done last week or the week before. Matt Rule has his team undefeated right now. They got 2 more games before Oklahoma comes to town. I'll luckily be in attendance for that. I'm excited about that. You crave as an Arkansas football fan. Maybe you feel it a little bit. That's trending the right direction in basketball, but football side of things, you're just like laying in the ashes as a fan, waiting to get out, and it just feels like you're going to stay there for an eternity. And that might not be the case, but to this point, it doesn't feel like College Game Day is going to be making a visit to Fayetteville, Arkansas anytime soon.
Well, look, I mean, SMU literally was in the ashes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one school that's been punished with a death penalty for football, and it was SMU. And in the 30 seasons after the death penalty, this is the 31st season of SMU football after the program was killed. In the previous 30 seasons, SMU has lost about 2/3 of the games that they've played. 347 games, 234 losses. Now they're 8-0. 8 wins is the most that they've had in one season since the death penalty. Think about that for a minute. And they're already at 8 wins. They've, in this time, since the death penalty, 8 seasons of 10 or more losses, including the last one in 2015, in which Chad Morris was the head coach, his first year at SMU. They've been through 7 coaches and 4 leagues. I mean, so this is a football program that literally was burned to the ground, had virtually no success for a fleeting 8-win season, maybe a 7-win season, maybe, was kicked around out of the Southwest Conference to the WAC, to Conference USA, and now the American Conference, which, by the way, might actually be like the 5th best conference in college football.
Over the Pac-12, yeah.
Well, even maybe potentially better than the ACC. I mean, if you remove Clemson from the ACC, what do you have there? So the American Conference is legit, and these are the top 2 teams there. So Memphis isn't quite at the level that SMU was, but it's not like they have this incredible history of Memphis football, and they've had their share of double-digit losses even in this century. Memphis is 7-1, so they're on their way to their 6th straight year of at least 8 wins. Before this streak, they won 8 games in 5 of 56 seasons. So I mean, these are the 2 programs that are being spotlighted. Saturday, all day on Saturday. I mean, you get game day in the morning. The weather's supposed to be a little bit chilly, but sunny, so mostly nice. It's Beale Street. There's going to be a festive atmosphere. Memphis is fun. This is a way to show it. And then maybe, just maybe, they'll get a crowd. I saw that Memphis had a flash sale for tickets, $9 now to get in. I don't know if it still costs $9, but they had a $9 flash sale for tickets for this game at the Liberty Bowl.
You think about the clash of cultures between Dallas and Memphis. SMU, if you've watched them any point this season, when they force a turnover, they pop bottles on the sideline.
We're popping bottles. That's right. I saw some champagne.
They do that.
I thought that was just what you did when you clinch a postseason berth.
I guess. And the greatness of Beale Street, for those who haven't been to Beale Street, it's a great time. Go to Silky O'Sullivan's. I haven't been to Rayford's. I heard Rayford's is incredible. I need to go out there. But I mean, it's just going to be a fun atmosphere. And I think when you look at these 2 football schools and these football programs, Phil, like Arkansas, they have open disadvantages. SMU is not comparable to Texas, to A&M, to even Baylor, to even like TCU, to Oklahoma. They have to compete recruiting against so many people. Plus, no one really cares about SMU in Dallas. That's a Cowboys town. That's a Mavs town. That's a Stars town. That's a Rangers town. Then look over to Memphis. Memphis has to compete against Ole Miss. They have to compete against Tennessee. That's a basketball school. No one thinks when you think Memphis immediately sports-wise, you think Grizzlies and you think Tigers. I
think my favorite AAA baseball park.
Oh yeah, Redbirds.
But that's just me.
And Redbirds have a cool park, so I would understand that. But like Arkansas, both these schools have disadvantages, cons, whatever you want to call it, that hurt it just from the outlook. There's like, how are they winning there? How are they doing that? People question that about Arkansas 2010, 2011, 06, 02, and on. How are they able to do that? How are they able to win? Certain coaches, certain recruits, certain players, certain good timing. Seems like it's happening for Memphis and SMU right now too, Phil.
And in that game, Memphis favored by 5.5 points, over under 69.5. That looks like it'll be a really fun ball game. Hey, it's Phil Elson with Ty Richardson. Halftime is 2/3 or third quarter today, whatever you want to call it, as we fill into the 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock time slot, usually occupied by Ruskin and Zach. They'll be back to their normal time slot tomorrow. We will be too, at 12 noon till 2 o'clock. You can follow me on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP. He is at Ty Sports Radio. And we will be right back after the break with more 2/3 third quarter on ESPN Arkansas.
You're listening to Halftime.
The Ram Power Days event at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler, Oklahoma is underway. You can now get 0% APR for 60 months plus $2,000 combined bonus cash for up to $10,348 in estimated total value on select all-new 2019 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4 models. Become one of the many proud and satisfied Ram owners with a great deal this month during Ram Power Days event at Williams Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Stigler. Log on to buywilliams.com for more information.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect, bringing state-of-the-art fiber internet, TV, and phone services right into the homes of all their members. Get amazing fast fiber internet 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for $79.95 per month. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out where they're installing in your area, or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Doe's Eat Place is the best of the best steakhouse in the River Valley. Award-winning steaks in a great atmosphere is what you will experience every time. Doe's Eat Place offers over 150 selections of wine, including 50 Cabernets, 200 spirits, including 80 whiskeys, bourbons, and scotch, and 75 beers, with 20 different local beers and 50 imported and craft beers. Everything you need for a memorable evening is at Doe's Eat Place, 422 North 3rd in Fort Smith. Open 5 till 9 Monday through Thursday, and 5 till 10 Friday and Saturday. Call 784-9111 for reservations.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
End of your savings start now at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Take up to $14,000 off on remaining 2019 GMC Sierra SLTs, featuring the new body style and tons of new features. Now $14,000 off. Need third row seating? The 2019 GMC Yukon XL has tons of room and all the options and features you demand. Right now, up to $13,000 off. End of your savings start now. Save up to $14,000 off at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Starkle on first down, straight ahead, Boyd, lots of room, to the 40, to the 30, it's a foot race, and Boyd's going to the house. Raheem Boyd, 59 yards, touchdown Arkansas.
Heading into the final 30 minutes of our lengthy, different time show today. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, halftime, 2/3, 3/4. And seeing Pro Football Focus has put out their wide receiver rankings for 8 games into the season. And the Hogs ranked 73rd for wide receiver rankings. You like what you've seen from your receivers, but man, they disappeared more than anything. It was like, where did the targets go for Trey Knox, for Traylon Burks against Alabama, against Auburn? I guess not enough time to let them run their routes. So the fact that your wide receivers, have I balled up my my box score from the Alabama game?
It's not Wednesday yet, dude.
It's not Wednesday. Maybe I just balled it up and threw it out because, I mean, really, who wants to look at that thing any longer than you have to? But receivers were barely targeted. Does that say more about the Alabama defense than it does about the Arkansas offense, or does it mean the other way around?
I think it's a combination. I mean, we know what Nick Saban can do to opposing quarterbacks, regardless if they're young, old, talented, not talented. He's just an excellent defensive coach. That's where he's made his money over the years in college football. I think that wide receiver-wise, if you look at what they've done this season, Traylon Burks has been good when he's lined up in the correct position. There has been some drops this year from players, but you expect that. I mean, they're still growing in college football. They're still trying to become college football ready players, like a couple of them being true freshmen. But Bill, what would you grade the wide receivers so far as a whole? Obviously, you mentioned that Pro Football Focus has them at 73rd. I don't know the exact details where that ranks in the SEC, but just kind of blind eye test, where you got them this year in terms of grade scale.
Feels like a C, C+. Yeah. Which for freshmen, I guess, is pretty good. Knox, 26 catches, 2 touchdowns, averaging just under 14 yards per catch. Burks, 19 catches, 298 yards, almost 16 yards per catch. The question isn't a matter of their talent or really in some cases anything that they're doing. It's, do you have quarterbacks that can get them the ball? And do you have an offensive line that can allow your wide receivers to run the routes so that the quarterbacks can get them the ball? And right now the answer is no, at least not in the last couple of weeks. Mississippi State, by the way, this is a team that will try to take the ball away. They don't necessarily pressure the quarterback very much, but they do get a lot of turnovers. Mississippi State this year has 6 interceptions. They really focus on stripping the ball, 10 fumble recoveries, which is one of the best in the country. So, you're not going to see the pass rush that you saw the last couple of weeks. And Arkansas, whoever's at quarterback, whoever it is, if it's Ben Hicks, if it's John Stephen Jones, if it's KJ Jefferson, they should have some time to let these young receivers and maybe the best tight end in the country do their thing.
And one of the things we haven't talked about much, if John Stephen Jones were to start on Saturday or KJ Jefferson, is the chemistry not only with the offensive line but the wide receivers. Every ball from a different quarterback comes out differently. The timing's different. The communication's different. How much does that affect the offense on Saturday? Chad Morris selects to go with John Stephen Jones, sprinkles in KJ Jefferson. Again, we don't know the game plan because Chad Morris hasn't announced that yet. We've been doing our best to hopefully figure it out, but knowing him, he's going to keep it close to his chest, and I would too, until Friday or Saturday when they release. He'll probably release it on Saturday who the starting quarterback is. But Phil, for these young wide receivers to be thrown in situation, they haven't necessarily been the most successful with upper level leadership in terms of Ben Hicks, who's been in the system for quite some time, and Nick Startle, an older quarterback. How many more mistakes do you think we'll see if John Stephen Jones or KJ Jefferson's in that position on Saturday?
It'll feel a little bit like a rudderless ship. You're looking to your quarterbacks to lead the way, and you thought you had some of that leadership there in the form of experienced players in Hicks and Starkle. Nick Starkle does not look like a leader by example. And, he might say all the right things at whatever time and practice well, but when your confidence is obviously as shaken as it is and you're throwing more to the opposing team than you are to your own team, that's not going to engender confidence in the quarterback, and that's not leadership, certainly not by example for Hicks. I don't know if you've seen week by week leadership either, and that's part of the problem here is that the offensively it feels like really not just this season but 2 years in a row now it's been a ship without a rudder, and that's what a quarterback does, and that's what's so frustrating about this Arkansas offense. More this year than last year, there are players that, given the ball and some space, can do some special things, but the space isn't ever there. It's just it isn't there for Trey Knox to show that elusive ability. It's not there for Burks to show off how physical he can be against overmatched defensive backs, because you just don't have accuracy from your quarterbacks, and more often than not, it seems that they're on their backside. You know, and Cheyenne, we keep talking about these receivers. Cheyenne O'Grady, the fact that he's caught 33 balls for 372 yards, he's one of the most productive tight ends in the SEC. To do that with potentially the worst quarterback play in the conference says a lot about C.J. O'Grady and his ability moving forward to do some special things maybe at the next level.
And you think about some instances where Starkle or Hicks should have found O'Grady. There should have been touchdowns or stuff just because of poorly inaccurate ball. And, again, this is not me piling on the quarterbacks. This is not me saying that it's always the quarterback fault, because I think there's some elements to Cheyenne O'Grady's game that he can improve, whether it's practice habits and other stuff that would help him out. but it's at the point where you're frustrated because, like you mentioned, Phil, you seem to have some playmakers while young that can still make plays. A Trey Knox guy that's 6'5", a Shine O'Grady that's 6'4", 6'5", one of the better tight ends not only in the SEC but in college football. Traylon Burks, who runs like a 4.3, 4.4, that anytime he touches the ball, you're wondering, man, he might actually break a 20-yard, 30-yard play. And you haven't been able to get it to the playmakers. You can have playmakers all you want, but unless you have trench play, unless you have a quarterback to get them the football, it's a lot harder to make the train go when you don't have those two elements when it comes to a cohesive offense.
So Hacker and Harrison wants to know about the QBR rating, and I don't know how Ben Hicks and Nick Starkel compare statistically as far as quarterback rating is concerned. But let's just look at Arkansas overall for passing efficiency. Whatever the rate is, however this cauldron of statistics is boiled together and mixed together to form the statistic that is pass efficiency, Arkansas is near the bottom of the list. I mean, right at the bottom. Who's tops in the country? Passing efficiency. Oklahoma, Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, 1 through 4. You're not surprised to see those teams there without even knowing what a 212.91 pass efficiency means. That's Oklahoma. They're number 1 in the country. That's Jalen Hurts, potential Heisman winner, potential future NFL quarterback. Bama, LSU, Ohio, they speak for themselves. Arkansas is 119th. That it's not worst in the SEC. It's third worst. You're in front of Vanderbilt. You're in front of Kentucky. But that also means there are just 10 other teams in the country that have a worse team passing efficiency than Arkansas does. So, and a lot of that will go to the interceptions, a dozen interceptions thrown, but it's also just a highly inaccurate group of quarterbacks. 53.7% completion rate. That's nowhere near where it needs to be. So, again, I don't know what the efficiency, really, Starkland and Hicks' efficiency is pretty close together and bad. So, I mean, that's the best way to put it.
This isn't QBR, but this is the rating. Starkle's at 112, Ben Hicks is at 103. You mentioned the 119th when it comes. Was that passing efficiency? Is that what you said, Phil?
Passing team pass efficiency. So okay. I think it's the same stat as what we're going here individually with Starkel and Hicks.
Yeah, and the drop rate for Arkansas receivers is also at 119. They're at about 16.8% when it comes to drop rate. So they're not exactly helping out. And again, I know that no one wants to get mad at the young, talented Traylon Burks, Trey Knox, and Shine O'Grady and some of the pass catchers and the Rakeem and stuff, but there's been points in the season where there needs to be a ball that needs to be caught, and these guys have come up short. That's why it's again 119th drop rate in the country. That's nothing. That's the thing that Justin Stepp, wide receivers coach, does not want to have his unit associated with. And I know they're young. There's a lot of time to improve. That's not a stat that you want at all associated with your side of the football, Phil.
Well, we're coming up on our final segment here on a long edition of Halftime or Two-Thirds. Ty, tell them what's going on if they want to enter this giveaway on social media for a Bud Light cooler.
Yeah, so we're giving away a Bud Light cooler. If you go to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, like, share, retweet, get a chance. We're going to be giving it away on Friday, Phil. It's a really cool cooler, so be sure to enter on our social media pages that hit that line.
All right, well, the cherry on the top of halftime comes after the break. Stay tuned on ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime.
The new Michelin silicone plates last through everything.
On a world record-breaking drive from Alaska to South America in unpredictable conditions.
Thunderstorms, ice storms, they just don't quit.
Rainier Zeidlo chose Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades with advanced quad-tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than other blades.
It's coming down in sheets.
Real world proven. Extreme weather wiping performance. Upgrade to Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today. Only at Walmart.
Hello, would you like me to find workout classes near you?
There are no stores that sell glasses within 10 miles of your location.
There's enough artificial in the world. That's why Michelob Ultra is brewed with no artificial colors or flavors. With just 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. 2019 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 grams carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0.0 grams fat per 12 ounces.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Football, fine weather, and my chance to flip the lot. We're out to sell every single car in our Rath Road Ready inventory and flip the lot during our fall clearance. That's right, every vehicle must go. To make it happen, we're discounting our entire inventory with savings up to $4,300 below retail. Even our special purchase vehicles are included, like 2018 Hyundai Elantra SELs for only $13,991. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires and 50% off brake pads. Don't miss out on the savings. Help us flip the lot. Get the Rath Road Ready vehicle that's perfect for you and save up to $4,300 during the fall clearance at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Supercuts of Arkansas is raising breast cancer awareness and donating to Bright Pink. Bright Pink is the only nonprofit organization that focuses on prevention and early detection of breast and ovarian cancer. Join the fight, breast cancer awareness. Donating to Bright Pink, the only nonprofit organization. Supercuts help them reach their goal of $10,000. Supercuts is conveniently located and serving its community 7 days a week. Supercuts, they're super into the movement. Supercuts, fresh, clean, sharp.
Dee's Family Restaurant of Alma at 39 Column Lane across from the water park is now open on Sundays. Breakfast is served all day and our hot buffet is served from 11 to 8, 7 days a week. Our breakfast buffet is now served from 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every day. All you can eat steak Thursday night, cooked order prime rib Friday night, and a seafood buffet on Saturday night. We have a party room that'll seat 50 and plenty of parking. Call ahead 632-1014.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
It's football season and the right play is at Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard. Their business is quality used cars at a great price with their #1 goal of passing the savings on to you. The latest makes and models, low mileage vehicles with an overall experience that can't be matched. Make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard today and find that there's no better way to buy your next vehicle. Call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com. Hertz Car Sales. What are you waiting for?
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Play fake, gonna throw a fade, left side, knocks at the goal line, complete, touchdown Arkansas! Trey Knox, 24 yards, and just like that, the Hogs are in the end zone.
Back on halftime, 2/3, third quarter, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com, Phil Elson, Ty Richardson. Let's see, got some big games in college football coming up this weekend. We got into the SMU-Memphis game. That's one of only 2 games that features a pair of ranked teams facing each other. The other is Georgia-Florida, which essentially is a battle for first place in the SEC East. You know, next week, LSU-Alabama will dominate the headlines, although there's another really good game next week. Penn State versus Minnesota. Minnesota kind of coming out of nowhere behind P.J. Fleck, unbeaten to now, 8-0. Penn State, also unbeaten, 5th in the country. So, next week.
That game in Minneapolis or I don't.
It's in Happy Valley.
Okay. Is College Park? Is that where Penn State is at? I don't know where.
Pardon me. It is in Minneapolis. That's
okay.
Right. It's called State College, Pennsylvania.
State College. Okay.
Right. Minneapolis is Minneapolis, pretty large city. So that'll be an interesting one. Do you want to put in a little bet, Ty, of where game day will be next week? They can't not be at LSU, Alabama, and Tuscaloosa, right? They can't go to Minneapolis. They can't go do Penn State, Minnesota, can they?
I guess it depends on where the game. You got to always think about broadcasting rights, too, because CBS has already locked in the Alabama LSU game for that 2:30 slot. They used their prime time, and Paul Feinbaum was ticked off about this on the Notre Dame-Georgia game, which got great numbers. I don't know if it was really that bad of a move.
Fox has a Big Ten package. Don't you think that Fox might try to get Penn State versus Minnesota?
That might be the 11 a.m. Fox game. So we'd have, that would be fantastic.
Let's look here. No, it isn't ABC. I see they already announced it. 11 o'clock morning, ABC.
Oh, it's 11 on ABC?
Yes.
Oh, gross. So I don't know what the Fox will get, because in 3 weeks, Fox is probably going to get the Baylor-Oklahoma game. That's why I told my uncle I think that game's going to be 11 a.m. But, yeah, thinking about that, because you want, again, if you're just looking at from a pure college football perspective, y'all, you want to have all the good games at separate times. And that's why Fox moving their primetime game to 11 a.m. was actually kind of great for the casual college football fans, because you have a great game at 11 a.m. on Fox, an incredible game at 2:30 on CBS for the SEC, and then that 6:30 category on like ABC and ESPN. Occasionally Fox will have a good game. Yeah, so it's typically spread out where you have the good games, but there's so much hype in this LSU-Alabama game. There's a line out already from...
Yeah, and here we are. We're, that's 7, that's like 12 days in front of that game.
And it's an offshore. It's not Vegas here. It's an offshore thing. But the line right now is Alabama's an 8-point favorite. And what that 8 points is contingent on, Phil, is that Tua's status is up in the air. If Tua was ready to go as of today playing, Bama would be a 10-point favorite. But as of now... according to this Vegas, and I think it's, Bet Online AG? I don't remember. I got to look that up real quick. They are a 8-point favorite down there in it's sportsbetting.ag is what it is. There's tons of them, but 8-point favorite when they take on the Tigers next week.
So let's see. It's going to be the, I think, 13th consecutive game that both LSU and Alabama play each other as ranked opponents. They will be... You would imagine that they're still 1-2 unless something crazy happens this next weekend. You remember 2011, 2012, LSU and Alabama faced each other twice. Well, they faced each other in the national championship to end the 2012 season. They played a regular season game as well as 1-2, so it'll be another 1-2 matchup. They were 1-4 last year when Alabama laid the 29-0 shutout over LSU in Baton Rouge. And that was the second time in the last 3 years that LSU was blanked by Alabama. The losing streak for the Tigers against the Crimson Tide is 8 straight. And that started with the BCS title game. The last LSU win, 9-6. These teams will score 15 points like in the first 15 minutes.
You bring up that 2011 game. This game has been so highly anticipated. And typically LSU, Alabama, people are excited for that football game regardless if they're a fan of the Crimson Tide or the Tigers or just an SEC or college football fan in general. But because LSU finally has an offense, this game seems like it's going to be competitive, go down to the wire, and actually high scoring potentially because the defenses are not the 2011, 2010 Alabama LSU. This is not the same type of defense. And when I was looking back today, Phil, kind of some of the more highly anticipated games that we've seen in quite some time that delivered, hopefully like this one does. You think about the Bama-Clemson rematch in 2017. Deshaun Watson getting a second chance at Nick Saban. You think about Notre Dame USC, the Bush Push game. You think about Texas and USC, the Natty Championship. Ohio State and Alabama in the college football playoff. You get Meyer and Saban back head-to-head.
Right, but most of these games that you're talking about, except for, I think, Notre Dame USC, are all postseason games.
Correct.
And this is the sort of thing you look forward to it year after year. And it's like, SC and Notre Dame are going to play each other every year, but it's been a while since SC was at the level of being a national contender. Every single season, Alabama LSU is a ranked matchup. Obviously, Alabama is a couple of steps ahead of LSU, but maybe this is the year where the Tigers show that they're on par, where they had been for so many years.
And I think there's just a little more oomph because of the offense. And we know Alabama's had successful offenses the past couple years, but the fact that LSU finally looks like it can roll into Tuscaloosa and keep up from a point standpoint with Nick Saban makes the game so much more interesting. And I think, and this brings up another question, Phil, when's the last time that Arkansas has had a matchup where it's been that hyped up? And you'd have to go back to 2011, either Alabama at home in 2010, or then I guess that would be the home game, and then 2011 when you get LSU, when you go to LSU and you're the third team in the country, you lose that game with the potential national championship and SEC championship on the line. Those are the two moments, I think, in 2010, 2011, where you could point to where Arkansas, not only by their own fan base, was looked at one of the best college football games, if not the best one of the day, but college football in general.
And while that game's getting hyped up and Penn State, Minnesota's getting hyped up, we'll be talking about Ty Storey coming in with the Hilltoppers, trying to take down his former team. And, of course, who knows what happens with Arkansas, Mississippi State this Saturday, but if you think that that this is a winnable game against Mississippi State, next week against Western Kentucky is as must-win of a game as you'll ever see. If there's one thing, I think Chad Morris is going to be this coach next, is be the head coach at Arkansas, unless the team loses to Western Kentucky. If that happens and you lose to two Group of 5 schools at home in the same season, then I feel like the chances are all bets are off.
I don't know how many. I can't give you an accurate percentage of the fans that are still striving with Chad. I know Michael from Stuttgart is one. He hadn't called the show in a while. Michael, you need to call back. He's one of the few fans that I've seen talk adamantly how he's still standing with Chad Morris and his time at Arkansas. But I haven't seen many fans, and maybe some fans feel like they can't voice a positive opinion because they'll get ridiculed by their coworkers, family, and whoever. But I haven't seen many fans with the outlook that Chad Morris is still going to get it done in Arkansas. That remains to be seen if it actually happens. It looks awfully just bleak right now. There's not a lot of people, I think, outside the administration that still think that Chad Morris is going to get it done, which I would say that's unfair. In certain instances, when you look at separate coaches, that might be unfair in this case, but it's hard to buy in after what's happened so far. It's hard to continue, and not just buy in, it's hard to stay on the train, on the tracks with this football program and this coaching staff. Now,
I remember you heard the Julie Cromer Peoples Hog Pod with Bo Mattingly, and she was quoted saying, "We're looking for a coach that can stay positive, knowing that the next 2 seasons," she didn't say the first season, the next 2 seasons will be very thin. That it's like expected. It's not that those first 2 seasons are a mulligan, but that you are dealing with such a lack of depth, a thin roster,
turmoil, yeah,
and the most difficult division in college football. And I'm not here to be making excuses. I'm just trying to get in the mindset of the administrators that are part of the decisions that go into this. And yes, Hunter Yurachek was part of the decision making at the very end of the process, saying, "I love the hire of Chad Morris." And even with all that said, I don't think anybody plans to lose to 2 Group of 5 schools at home in the same season. That's why whatever happens against Mississippi State, as long as you don't get 3 embarrassing blowouts against the 3 conference teams that are left, if you beat Western Kentucky, it's like it's the job saver. Although, I really think that the job might hinge upon Western Kentucky more than anything else.
And I think what's irritable about that is there should not be in year 2 a game, a non-conference game. And when I say non-conference, I'm not talking about Notre Dame. I'm talking about Western Kentucky. That should not be the game that could hinge on Chad Morris's job. That's what fans are frustrated, and rightfully so, that Chad Morris's job and his lifeline at Arkansas could be contingent on how his former quarterback comes into play in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium.
Well, Ty, our jobs hinged upon our ability to do 3 hours of radio. We managed to pull it off. Good job. Appreciate our callers today. Appreciate Mike Neighbors and Neil Price for being our guests. We're back with you tomorrow at 12 noon for halftime. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, get better.